it worked. We are live. Pretty sure.
We are live indeed.
There we go.
Let me just look for that link. There we go.
Well, it's nice to be signed into OBS now on this account, because now I can see all the viewers and everything.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
I hadn't been able to see that previously.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's useful.
Yep.
There we go.
Nice.
Potentially. It depends. If it stays at 0 the whole time, it won't be that nice. I'd rather not see it.
Yes. All right, I'm just...
He's getting the links, and
putting it out there,
pushing the word. Yep. For anyone watching, wondering why we're being awkward.
Word. Very
See
awkward.
who shows up tonight. We don't normally stream on Thursdays, but Wednesdays are no longer looking the most ideal, so we're having to switch it up a little bit. It'll be all right. We are making it work. We have so much to talk about.
Might have a different crowd.
Hey, we welcome anyone.
So much to talk about. Can't wait. Totally.
Some very exciting topics.
Yes. Have my outline. Sudoku first. How's it going?
Why can't I see him in the... Oh, there he is.
Oh.
It was being weird. Hello, Sudoku. Congratulations. You're first. Welcome on in.
Congrats. I don't know if you ever catch the beginning of our live streams, but this is the... So we decided to go live before actually starting the show. So this is just we technically go live, but we're just awkwardly just making sure we're getting ready.
It's funny too, because we could do it properly, because we can make it to where the link is available beforehand. Yeah, we did that one time, so we could have it already. Yeah, we just don't.
I think it's just funny that we just do it on the fly.
Sudoku,
we do, before we officially start, we do appreciate your questions, and they are good talking points. Oh yeah, Isaac, did you think about some breakout / underwhelming players? I mean, I thought of a couple. I mean, we could also just do it on the fly.
Oh, was that something I was supposed to do? I mean, I can do that.
I mean, not like a full blown list. Well, Sudoku just asked for some breakout candidates and also some players we think are washed. Okay. Isaac, be prepared. Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I responded to a comment of his. I'll buy a Saints jersey and wear it on a live stream celebrating the Saints if they go 17-0 next season. It's not happening.
Oh, you said that?
Yeah, I said it's in words. It's in the comments on one of our shorts. So it's the one where the Saints were first in the power rankings. So I'm already committed. If that somehow happens, I've already said I'll do it.
We'll hold you to it. All right. Yeah, so you can just think of some people, when we get there. Just
I'll figure it out for sure. I've got at least 10 Panthers.
Questions. Well, they're good questions though, and I think they're actually good kind of discussion points. All right, are we ready?
Yeah, let's get into it. Start the show.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Welcome everyone to another episode of Football for Fun. I am Depressed, the Texans fan.
I am Delusional, the Panthers fan, and my team, not the Saints, is going 17-0 this year. It's Carolina Panthers.
Indeed, the Panthers are going 17-0. You all will be here for it, and you all will regret making fun of the Panthers when that actually happens, and they go to the Super Bowl, and something weird happens against the Broncos. Maybe Bryce Young will fumble and then not recover it.
Okay, let's get on to the next topic now. Anyway,
okay. So, hope you all are doing well. Welcome to our live stream. It is an average sort of off season to where everything the draft and all that stuff is kind of past us, but it's not yet training camp. So we're just kind of going to some dumb drama, some dumb I'm not saying they're all dumb, but just they're just stories that are just is this really a thing?
Essentially, we are in the peak of the off season, so exactly what you would expect if you've been through an NFL off season before. That's what we're getting into today.
Yes. How's it going, Devin? Welcome to the show. We're gonna talk about the Bucks. We're gonna talk about the Bucks soon, actually, Devin. So you should stick around for a few minutes. But anyway, I'd say some breaking news from today is that you might have seen the thumbnail and title, which part of it is true, which is that Justin Tucker, he's not a Cleveland Brown yet, at least. Justin Tucker did get suspended for 10 games. I think obviously, understandably so. He had some very questionable, or allegedly at least, had some
Future Cleveland Brown
questionable.
is wild.
Yeah, had some questionable off the field sort of, like behaviors and things like that. And honestly, I think it's pretty well deserved from my perspective at least. I mean, again, I think it's all alleged, so like you never really know, but it does sound like it's been very, very questionable behavior from him. And I think on top of that, Justin Tucker just sucked, which is also part of why the Ravens cut him, which is like, okay, if he sucked, but he was like still an outstanding moral citizen, maybe you can try to find a way to keep him. But at this
We all
point,
know
it's like,
that they would have kept him if he was still good. That's just how the league works.
right.
But
yes, that is how the league works.
I was actually going to bring up Deshaun as well. I think Deshaun got 11 games, right? I know it was 6 at first, and then they changed it to 11 for whatever reason. I don't know. Coincidentally, he was playing Houston when he came back. So
I think that was actually the case. I think it was 6, but then maybe it's the Players Association or something was trying to push it to the full season. Maybe the league tried to push it. Well, I'm trying to think like Roger versus the league. Like I don't know like who all the power plays were, but like someone tried to push it to the full season, but then there's kind of a compromise to like 11 or something like that. Which of course I read the comments about the Justin Tucker one. One of the first comments I see is like shorter suspension than Calvin Ridley.
No, it is kind of wild how these suspensions work, though. It's insane. I was going to say Deshaun Watson barely got more of a suspension than Justin Tucker, and he did... I mean, they both did egregious things, allegedly, but it was worse in Deshaun's case, so it's really... I was surprised to see a suspension at all, to be honest. I didn't know that was in the works, so I'm even more surprised that it was 10 games.
Yeah, honestly, it didn't really even occur to me. Now, again, it's not that, like, I go to, I go to sleep thinking about, like, is Justin Tucker going to get suspended? I think we had all kind of forgot about him until the story came. But one thing that I was wondering, which it is important to keep in mind, he does not have a team yet. And so what I was wondering is, does the suspension apply, like, is it just the first 10 games of the season, or does it only apply once he's signed? Because my thing is, like, now again, maybe it doesn't really have to come down to this, and he may suck so bad it doesn't really matter. But I was kind of thinking, like, if there's a contender who loses their kicker in December and Justin Tucker's unsigned, can they just sign him and he technically served his suspension even though he was not on a team? That's kind of the main logistic I wonder. But ESPN says just first 10 games of the 2025 NFL season. So I assume he's just suspended from like, week 1 until like whatever date week 10 is.
I would assume the same, and I've got a problem with that because I think if you give the guy a suspension, he needs to serve that suspension, whatever the length is. A 10-game suspension, I think you serve that suspension at any point before you can play again. But I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. He shouldn't get to just skip over that suspension and then join a playoff team who's missing a good kicker and then help them in the playoffs without first serving the 10-game suspension. Like, sign with a team, sit out the 10 games, not just be a free agent and not have to do anything.
Will he even have a team? See, that's also part of why I'm saying it might be a moot point, because, like, who's going to sign him, really? Honestly, if you need a kicker, like, are you really going to go to Justin Tucker first? Maybe if you're desperate, I guess, but...
There are teams who are going to need kickers, and that's the greatest kicker of all time. Someone's going to take a chance on him if they think they can afford to. I mean, it depends on how much bad publicity he would bring to the team. There were enough teams out there who were trying to get Deshaun Watson. My team was one of them, so I remember that pretty well.
Deshaun is different, though, because he was seen as a superstar quarterback. Right. I do see what you're saying.
But I just mean, in general, if a team wants a player enough, they will put aside the off-the-field stuff, even if it brings bad publicity to your team. If they think they can justify it because of the talent in the player, they'll do it. So it really depends on how desperate a team gets for a kicker. And I think at some point, someone's going to look at Justin Tucker available and go, yeah, we're going to take a shot here, and hopefully he comes through for us, Because there's bound to be a team or two in the regular season who finds out their kicker room is not what they thought it was, and they're going to need an upgrade. It happens every year. Justin Tucker's still out there. Someone's going to sign him. Good chance, in my opinion.
All right, yeah. That is definitely very reasonable. Also, I just wanted to mention, Sudoku says, what do you mean? Gambling is the biggest crime in humanity. Right, so, gambling in the facility is the biggest. Wasn't it the issue? Or was it gambling, period? I actually forget in Calvin Ridley's case. There's
he was betting
Jameson Williams.
He was betting on his own team, right? Calvin Ridley?
Sounds right. Yeah, but there's also some dumb issue to where it's like, even in like non-football, you couldn't gamble inside your facility, but outside, it's totally okay. But yeah, totally. Gambling is like biggest crime of humanity. You should be thrown in jail if you gamble on your own team, right? Like, yikes. So
It's a mess.
anyway, I think that is about it as far as what we want to talk about
I will say
on
for the record, I do hope, if the allegations are true, I hope he never plays another down in the league. That's just my stance. I don't think anyone should sign
yeah.
him. I hope he's
I
out,
mean,
but it's just not how the world
same here. I
works.
think if everything there is true, like he shouldn't be rewarded for that type of behavior. I think it was a shame that the Browns paid Deshaun Watson like whatever 250 million guaranteed upon all those like allegations. And it's not like yes, there are allegations like theoret, but it's like come on, something happened. Like no reasonable human being thinks that like nothing like if it's like one case like you could like see how that like a Matt Ariza type of thing to where like it was just I think it was just one case but he was found innocent, like that's understandable, but like 25 or 30 in the suit, what I lost count at this point, it's just absolutely insane.
Yeah, it really is.
Really wasn't even with the team. Yeah, I do remember that. I think he had like mental health issues or something like that, and then he gets suspended. It's like okay, like just whatever. Okay, shall we change the topic? Do you want to change the topic?
Yeah, we can move forward. I don't think there's anything else to say about future Cleveland Brown kicker Justin Tucker, so we can move on.
Yeah, some quick topics. One being, I believe this news broke today, which is that Buccaneers head coach and GM Todd Bowles and Jason Light, respectively, got extended. I think I just heard their multi-year extensions down to the details. Kind of like the whole Sirianni thing. Like you don't really know the details, but they got extended. I mean, Todd Bowles, maybe we question is he one of the higher end coaches in the league, but he seems like he's getting it done. It's been good enough. As a rival division fan, do you have any thoughts? Are you happy that he's been suspended, or are you really just like indifferent? Like, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I saw the news the other day, and I just whatever. Good for them, I guess. Don't love it, don't hate it. I've never felt like he's that good of a coach, honestly. Obviously he's doing something right though, because you're getting production out of the offense, and defense could be better. But I mean, that team has won what 5 straight NFC South titles, and it's probably going to be another one this year. I've been saying they're going pretty far this year, so I assume they're going to win the division again. I'm kind of indifferent about it. Just great, you kept your guys around. That's probably the smart thing to do. But they don't really scare me. I'm not worried about Todd Bowles as a head coach. He's fine.
I've seen Bucs fans who want him gone. That is interesting. Like from the lens of a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, like I don't know. Todd Bowles wouldn't strike me as someone who you would like want out. Like I don't think besides like New York, I don't think he's really proven to be a bad coach. Maybe I think the apprehension could be that he's a defensive coach in an offensive league and can be tough to kind of like succeed long term if that's the case. And if your defensive head coach is not like brilliant, right? But I don't know. I feel like it's just kind of like it's kind of a tough situation. Like if you like, there's not really a good like there was not really a good time to fire him. Like, are you gonna fire him after another 10-7 wild card appearance? Like, it's just like
Well, I guess
I don't
the
know.
issue would eventually arise that they haven't actually gone far in the playoffs. Post Tom Brady. All right, they had Brady, they won it all, and since then, well, was Bowles was the coach when Brady was there, right? No, Arians was the coach when they won the Super Bowl, and then Bowles was the coach in Brady's final season, I want to say. Because Arians
That
moved
is
up into
correct.
management, I
Yes,
think,
because
or front office.
Arians retired, but really Tom Brady made him retire, and so Bowles was the coach for a year.
Right. So under
Yeah,
Bowles, they've
he
not
like
actually done anything.
Yeah.
Is what I was gonna get at. Like they've not accomplished anything in the postseason under Bowles. They've just won the division title for every year under him, I believe. So
They've won playoff games though, right? Or a playoff game?
They have won a playoff game at least. I know they see that first year with Brady and Bowles together, they didn't win any games.
No, they lost to the Cowboys, and I think the second year they defeated the Eagles in the wild card.
That sounds
last
right.
year. last year they would have lost to the Commanders. So they have one playoff win, which Drag rated 8-9, even though he was the passing leader. Yeah. So
that was odd, yeah.
Yeah, that was a very weird season. I remember that. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it seems like I guess he's here to stay. I think we've talked about Baker Mayfield in depth before. Seems like he's also in Tampa to stay as well. And I mean, we'll see if they can convert one of their division, division wins into a like conference championship or Super Bowl appearance. You just gotta like kind of take that next step.
Yeah, at some point you have to do more. It's what they're doing now is good, but you need more to satisfy the fan base. And at some point, your team is gonna stop being as good as it's been, and another team in that division is bound to rise up at some point. Whether it's Carolina or Atlanta, one of us is gonna be good. I refuse to say Atlanta will be good, but they have a fair shot too with a young quarterback and a young rising defense, perhaps. But they got to get there at some point. They got to get over the hump and accomplish something in the postseason. I don't think it's something a lot of people are talking about, but I mean, they won that Super Bowl in 2020 after all, so how upset can the fans really be, But as time goes on, they're going to demand results. So we'll see if the extensions help with that, I guess.
And I think it's kind of like what we say with the Steelers as well, which is that you can get fed up all you want with like Mike Tomlin's like 9-8 streak and never having losing season or whatever, but so many teams would like just give anything to have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers level of success for the for like 5 straight years, right?
I wish.
Especially in their own division, right?
I can't even get that for 2 straight years. Right. It's never happened.
So yeah, it's not something you really necessarily want to take for granted. I could see it like though if Baker Mayfield's play like regresses like in a few years, like I could see that being weird where it's like, okay, maybe you just kind of want to like start over, like you get a new coach, you get a new quarterback, maybe you tank for a year and like draft someone. But honestly, I think we're a few years, maybe 2 at the absolute minimum from even having that conversation. I feel like Baker and Bowles have another like 2 good years together, and then maybe like year 3, 4 could get a little weird. I don't know, but at least the Bucs have looked like contenders at times. It's true. They've played some really good games against like the Eagles. I feel like they've played some really good games against high end teams. So
the only people who argue that the Steelers think that Aaron Rodgers is going to come back and be a top 10 quarterback. Like that's the only way you argue that. If he's a top 10 quarterback, it is possible.
Yeah, I saw. Not that I really should be reading Instagram comments. I saw an interesting comment interaction. It was really only just like one comment, one reply, so it wasn't a full-blown argument. The comment was basically, if Rodgers can, be like, return to form or whatever it was, then I could see the Steelers being Super Bowl contenders, that commenter was saying. And then, which that's ridiculous. But then the reply says, with Mike Tomlin, you're going 9-8 max. And I'm like, that's also ridiculous. Like, 9-8 max. Like, the reason I say that is because Mike Tomlin's like had a winning season every like year, or non-losing seasons. You would think that 9-8 is like
minimum,
not the max.
Your 9-8 minimum is what.
Yeah,
what comes to mind.
I mean, again, if you want to bet on this finally being the year of the Steelers, don't go winning record. I guess you could say his floor is a little lower, but like the maximum, I feel like the ceiling's like 10 or 11 wins for the Steelers. I mean, even like if everything goes right, I could see like the Steelers winning 12 games. I don't think it's really realistic. I don't think it's likely, but I feel like the maximum is closer to like 10 or 11. 9-8 max, 9-8 min, and exactly, yeah, that is the Steelers. Or yeah, right.
8-1.
I was about to throw in a tie there, but
yeah,
right. 8-1, right.
I think we all want to see the 8-1 Steelers. Yeah. Yeah, the Jets got really overhyped. I'm glad that we aren't doing that with the Steelers this year, overhyping them as if Aaron Rodgers is going to be an MVP player and carry them to a Super Bowl. Technically it's possible, I guess. I'm not going to say it though.
No, I think they're pretty realistic expectations. Might be a good transition point. Looks like 2025 will be Aaron Rodgers' last season playing quarterback in the NFL. What he said down on the Pat McAfee show, I think a lot of people just thought that like a lot of people made a big deal about it, but honestly, I feel like we kind of like see that coming. Like, is he really going to play in 2026? So, I mean, it was a quote from like the other day, but really, is there really any substance behind it?
I mean, we've all kind of assumed, or at least you and I have, that this is going to be the last season, and it's possible that he changes his mind. But I don't think we should just assume he's for sure gone after this season. It's possible he decides he wants one more year, but I mean, he went on and he sounded very definitive, in my opinion, that it was going to be his last season. That's why we signed the 1-year contract or whatever. Cool. I don't know why it needed to be announced. I guess it was just, I don't know what the context was. I don't know if he went out of his way to do that or if it was brought up by McAfee. But I don't know. It's not a big deal to me. I didn't really care when I heard it. It's like, great. I kind of assumed that already. I'll enjoy his last season, I guess. I don't know. There's not really much, in my opinion, to get into there.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, I don't know the context either. I didn't watch that Pat McAfee clip. I honestly don't really care. Like, I mean, like, okay, I'd honestly be a little surprised if he played in 2026. Like, I mean, maybe if he has a spectacular 2025 output, I could see, like, okay, trying to drag it on for another year. But especially if he struggles, like, I would be shocked if he played in 2026. So, I don't really think there's much substance behind it. I mean, I think
who's even gonna want him in 2026? You have to wonder. There was hardly anyone lining up for him this year.
I think the assumption is he would just go back to Pittsburgh, because now Pittsburgh is going to be in the spot of like needing a quarterback once Rodgers retires, and we've had this discussion before. They need to just draft
somebody. Yeah, they're just perpetually stuck where they are if they keep Rodgers another year. I can't imagine they truly want that, unless this year just goes amazing for them, but. It would just be like last year with Russ. I mean,
see, like, yeah, ideally, I feel like maybe you play it out with Rodgers for a year and then you, like, tank. But ideally, you tank. Like, I'm sorry for the Steelers, that's just the case. The thing is, like, Mike Tomlin's not going to tank. So, like, it's going to be something weird. Like, Aaron Rodgers plays in 2025, retires, and they drafted QB in day 3. Yeah, they drafted Yeah, they drafted Will Howard, but I don't think you draft someone in the 6th round, like relying on him to be the franchise guy. I mean, maybe they'll give him a shot. I mean, you never know, but it'll be something weird to where Rodgers retires and then like Daniel Jones had a breakout season in Indianapolis. Now he's a free agent. So Daniel Jones signs a $200 million contract with the Steelers.
I don't want to go down that timeline. No. Just no.
I mean,
it would be really funny though. And then he's just abysmal in Pittsburgh.
I've heard, not to go into another topic, I mean, I've heard like rumblings of like Daniel Jones could have like a breakout year, but anyway, we'll go to that later. But yeah, Rodgers looks like 2025 will be his last rodeo. Good for him. I mean, I guess we'll enjoy seeing him play. It'll be interesting to see how he plays in a better structure than the Jets, but obviously the Steelers. We all kind of view as like some team who will probably win several regular season games, but then just just poop in the playoffs. So we'll see what happens. Richardson's not the presumed starter. So do you want to go into the next topic?
I already started recording for it, actually. Let's do it.
Great.
You'll have some editing to do now.
I definitely will have some editing. So the story is that Anthony Richardson is not winning the quarterback race in Indianapolis. According to The Athletic, Daniel Jones is QB1 for now. The Colts signed the ex-Giants/Vikings quarterback in free agency to challenge Anthony Richardson for the QB1 title in Indy, and Jones has already taken a significant lead. So all that to say, in training camp, or not training camp, but it looks like that Daniel Jones is leading the quarterback competition. And we also have a mailbag question, which we'll go into in a second. But it does look like that maybe Daniel Jones will be the Week 1 starter in Indianapolis. I mean, there's no guarantees. I guess there's still time for Anthony Richardson to win it back, and he does have some advantages. Like, he was the guy they drafted. They might still feel like they need to play him or whatnot. But Isaac, do you have any initial thoughts about the this very intriguing quarterback battle between Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson?
I mean,
two high-end quarterbacks just duking it out for glory.
Yeah, the battle of the offseason. First, it's just incredibly sad that he's already reportedly losing ground in this battle. That's when he was signed. I think it was Benchwarmer Brand. He tweeted out saying, "This is like the fairest ultimatum out there. Either you beat out Daniel Jones for the job, or you're gone." But that's it. This is your last chance to prove yourself. You can't lose the job to Daniel Jones. If he actually does, then that just sucks. But I don't think that Daniel Jones is going to be the Week 1 starter, even if he seems to be the better quarterback, in the in training camp throughout the offseason and everything. You got to start Richardson and at least see if he does anything when the game actually comes in Week 1. See what happens on the field in the competition. You want to play that out, and if it goes poorly, great. You put in Daniel Jones, and you hope that he somehow leads you into the playoffs, which is not happening. But dream on. Sorry, Colts fans. This is not going to be your year either way. I think they need to start Richardson in Week 1 and at least see if something clicks on the field, because this is a young quarterback, and he was always going to be a multi-year project. Nobody expected a year 2 breakout. It was always going to be year 3 with this guy at the very earliest. This is like Josh Allen, who he was compared to based on his development coming out of college. He was a Josh Allen type. So far, he's not followed that trajectory, but year 3 is when it would be for the breakout, so they should at least play him and see if something clicks. If he really is losing this battle to Danny Dimes, that's just really sad, and poor us. We have to watch Daniel Jones be the starting quarterback somewhere again, so that sucks.
Hey, we get to face Daniel Jones 2 times a year. I mean, I'll take it. I mean, I think we could, just do some things to him. But, yeah, no, I think you have some very reasonable points. My only maybe pushback, if I will, is, like, honestly, like I do understand, like, you want to play Richardson, you want to see what's out there, but, like, didn't you do that last year and he just was bad? Like, right. I feel like at this point you just play the best guy, and if you think Daniel Jones is by far the best guy in like a training camp or whatever, then you just play him regardless.
So
and then
if
just,
this
like,
was like,
yeah,
if it were Bryce Young, if this is the Panthers situation and it's Bryce Young and Andy Dalton beats him out for the starting job, yeah, you start Andy Dalton. My thing with Richardson though is he was such a big project coming out of college. You give him that 3rd year. You shouldn't give up yet. Because that's just how much of a project and how much development he needed coming out. He's not really comparable. I know he was taken with the 4th pick compared to Stroud at 2 and Young at 1. You'd think they're all really similar since they're top 4 picks, but there was a wide gap between them all. No matter what the media, no matter what the hype said, there was a huge gap. Bryce and Stroud were far and above Richardson in terms of development and risk, and it's just a different comparison to me. Like, again, if it's Bryce Young losing the battle to Dalton in the offseason, yeah, start the best guy and hopefully you can compete. For the Colts, I don't think they're doing anything with Daniel Jones anyway. Let's be realistic. At least see if something clicks for Richardson, because that he's your developmental high draft pick. You kind of banked on him in that draft class. You need to see it through. Honestly, I think the GM is gone anyway after this season. Ballard is going to be fired. I'm a little surprised he hasn't already, to be honest. I don't know about Steichen. I don't know if they'll fire him. Probably. He's going to do.
Feels like Ballard has overstayed his welcome.
He has at this point. Yeah, you miss on your quarterback this badly, you're going to be on your way out. So it's again, I'm sorry, Colts fans. You're in for a rough year. I hate to say it.
Seems like it. I mean, someone said, I don't know who, some like coach or someone said, essentially, if you have 2 quarterbacks, then you have no quarterback. In the context of like competing for a starting job, and it's always just a rough situation. Well, I say always. It's very rarely a good situation when you have 2 guys just competing for a job, because it probably just means they both suck. I mean, the only good example I could really think of would be like, well, I mean, there was never even a competition with like Smith and Mahomes or like Rodgers and Love, right? Because it was always like the veteran kind of started and then they had a transition point. Right. So I can't really think of a recent like true quarterback competition that was okay. Maybe like actually I do remember one. Geno Smith and Drew Lock once upon a time were in a quarterback battle. That was supposedly very close until the start of the season. And I mean, Geno won and it worked out. So I guess there is an example, but I'd say rarely is it really a good thing.
Yeah, for sure.
So Sudoku says, and we'll get to your question in a second. My view is if A is better than B, start A. That makes sense. I don't care if B is paid more. I don't care if B was drafted high. Yeah, I mean, I think where
the exception is if B is young and has high upside.
Well, I mean, I think that's what you could argue with Richardson. I think also there's kind of a slippery slope towards like, is it like a slight lead for like, you know, like A, but you see like potential with B or something like that. But anyway, do you want to get into the mailbag question?
Yeah, let's do that.
So, and I'll read his question word for word, which, funnily, he is in chat. So if you have anything you want to, like, expand on from your question or anything like that, Sudoku. So this is a mailback question from Sudoku, which I think he kind of coincidentally asked, as there was this report that essentially Daniel Jones was leading the competition. And I'll read this exactly, as word for word. Why was Anthony Richardson picked 4 overall if he was this much of a project quarterback, barely played in college, and wasn't even good? Extremely low completion percentage even then. And I did look that up. He did only have like 54 or something at was he at Florida?
He was at Florida,
is that right?
Yeah. I watched him at Florida. He was not good there either.
Yeah. I don't care how much of an athletic freak you are. If you aren't a good player, you should not be picked anywhere in the first 3 rounds. I'd like an answer beyond just the Colts are stupid. Not necessarily wrong, though. The 49ers did something similar in picking Trey Lance at number 3 when he barely played any college ball and would have backfired if they hadn't got lucky with Purdy. So, yeah, essentially, why did the Colts draft Richardson at number 4, even though he, for all intents and purposes, sucks?
So I guess
I have a pretty simple answer.
Okay, I was going to say the circumstances really affect that, because what were they going to do at quarterback if they didn't take a shot at Richardson? Because I'm sure they tried to trade up, but Carolina ended up trading up to 1, and I don't think Houston was going to move and let Indy have that pick at 2. So, they sat at 4, and their choices were Anthony Richardson and Will Levis in the draft. I guess you could argue Levis has been the better quarterback. I'm not really sure where I stand on that. At least he brings you the memes and allowed you to move on faster in the case of the Titans. But I don't know what they were going to do at quarterback if they didn't draft Richardson.
Yeah, but like, I guess the argument you can make is like, why was Richardson projected to be a first-round pick? I have a simple answer. I think I only need 2 words to explain it, which is Josh Allen.
Yeah, no.
Quite simply, people saw Josh Allen. He was a raw project. He sucked like the first 2 or 3 years of his career, and then like he kind of like went like a rocket ship. So I think of the teams who drafted like Anthony Richardson and Trey Lance's, they're looking for their Josh Allen, and so far it hasn't really worked.
And you have to think back then, they probably believed they would have been a good spot for that to work out. They got a young, talented receiver in Michael Pittman Jr., and you got one of the best, at the time at least, one of the best running backs in the league, Jonathan Taylor. I don't know where he stands nowadays in the running back ranks, but he was one of the best back then. And they had a good offensive line too, so it didn't seem like a bad situation for a young quarterback to come in and develop for a few years. You fast forward to today, and the receiver room, and Michael Pittman is, I don't know, he hasn't been good with Richardson. I think that's more about Richardson being really bad, though. The offensive line is nowhere near as good now, and Jonathan Taylor is, well, in running back years, he's now ancient. So, I mean, I don't know. I think back then they probably believed they would be a good spot for Richardson. They talked themselves into him. They fell in love with the hype and the idea of him being the next Josh Allen. I would agree there. Josh Allen kind of sums it up. It's the Josh Allen effect. But, and the good question in the chat from Sudoku, did Allen suck in college too? I don't think he did. I'm pretty sure he was really good at Wyoming. The problem is he was at Wyoming.
Actually, I do have these numbers up, which, I mean, yes, he was at Wyoming. I mean, I think the thing about Josh Allen is, like, he didn't get any scholarship offers, right? Which I think is kind of like, maybe he didn't necessarily suck. So his numbers were, his record was 16-10, so pretty good. He had,
at Wyoming,
56% completion, which honestly, okay, because we were talking about Richardson, for a second, I thought that was high, because I was comparing that to Richardson. And, like, obviously 56 is not great. So his completion percentage wasn't great. 5,000 yards, 44 touchdowns, 21 picks. So seems like his college career was like,
meh.
I don't know. I don't think probably not as bad as Richardson, but remember when the Colts traded a first round pick for Trent Richardson? Trent Richardson. That might have been before my time. I don't remember that.
I don't remember that. I believe it though.
Yeah, Mr. Football Historian over here. But yeah, I do think like teams are looking for their Josh Allen. I mean, I honestly don't blame them. Like if you saw this Josh Allen sort of just well, I was
I
just
blame
gonna say,
them.
if
That
you
is,
see,
that's an irresponsible
if
way
you
to
see
do
the
it, man.
Bills, well, I mean, if you see, I'm not saying it's smart. I'm just saying like I don't blame them. Like, but I think like what you're saying, like with the circumstances, like do you do like the high upside, or do you go with someone like Will Levis or Hendon Hooker, who like maybe they're better, but do they have the upside that? Yeah. So honestly, I mean, is it stupid? Yes, but like honestly, and I feel like as time passes, you know, it's gonna be realized that there's only one Josh Allen every like century, maybe. Like someone who like absolutely sucks and you can just like mold into someone who's really good. I don't know. I think in a way maybe the Bills got really lucky. So yeah, hopefully that answered your question.
Sudoku was asking, throwing him into the fire still seems irresponsible. No, I assume in regard to Richardson starting so quickly.
Richardson.
I agree. I don't think rookie quarterbacks in general should be starting week one, most of the time at least. We've seen how it works when a veteran starts first and then the rookie learns under the veteran for however long. It's usually better. Throw him into the fire, fine. Try not to get him killed. Can you imagine if Drake May was starting for the Patriots week one last year? I think he would have actually died. So, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, and I think it depends on the circumstances. Like, well, somehow CJ Stroud started week one and he was just fine. Like, I don't know what that, because it's not like we had some great supporting cast around him. But Browns have agreed to retire Sanders' number if he fails to make the practice squad. Right. That is funny. But yeah, imagine that for sure. But yeah, sorry, what were we talking about? I totally lost my train of thought.
Well, now I've lost mine. I was reading that comment with you.
Oh yeah, starting rookies in week one. Yeah, so like I think it kind of depends. Also, so that Colts team, like obviously Richardson was drafted 3. Who was the like veteran backup presence? Was it? I think Joe Flacco was a year later, right?
Yeah.
Did they have like a guy on the roster?
Did they have Gardner Minshew?
That would be 2023. You know what? Oh yeah, because he missed most of the season. It was Gardner Minshew. Okay, yeah, I didn't know that. Dude went through reverse nepotism.
Oh man,
that's funny. That's actually a funny way to put it. But yeah, so we'll see with Richardson. I mean, as a Texans fan, I'm not complaining that the Colts are going through this mess. I do have there's like one guy, this one podcaster guy I really like. I'll go ahead and credit him. John Middlecoff thinks that, and for context, he's like a former scout and a podcaster that I really like. He's kind of has like a Colin Cowherd connection, but he's pretty good. He thinks that Daniel Jones like is gonna start and have a breakout year, kind of like how Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield and all those guys. Like he thinks that like Daniel Jones is gonna be the breakout, like the player, the first round pick who sucked and then has a breakout year. I don't know.
I mean,
I'm a little afraid though.
It's possible, I guess. I don't know if Indy is the team that's is gonna bring in a guy and have him.
Well, the argument is that Shane Steichen is a really good offensive coach. He just needs a quarterback.
No, surely not.
I mean, if it doesn't happen, I'm here for it. Just
they got a decent receiver room. They got Jonathan Taylor. They got Tyler Warren now.
People said this about Geno and Darnold. I actually don't.
No, they would.
Talking about like people thought they would break out. I actually don't remember those conversations. I don't remember like conversation with any of them breaking out. Maybe I thought Geno came out of nowhere.
Geno definitely did. Sam probably did, except for Vikings fans, maybe. I think Baker was talking about well, because I remember telling a lot of people, there's no way Baker's going to be good. I watched him in Carolina. Yeah, joke's on me.
Yeah, I think I do remember thinking actually stuff similar. I thought more like the Bucks would be good. I actually didn't necessarily think that Baker would break out. But I don't know. Who would be a good breakout? Oh, they came out of nowhere. People said this about Geno Darnold. He came out. Okay, Scott. Sorry,
Yeah.
I thought you were saying the other way around. Yeah. They did kind of come out of nowhere. But the saying Jones breakout is impossible isn't exactly true. Right. Yeah. I mean, it's not entirely impossible. Who would have a breakout? I feel like it's either Daniel Jones or like
Spencer
Wilson,
Rattler.
maybe.
No. No, definitely not. Michael Penix is going to get injured, and Kirk Cousins is going to restore his career. That's what's going to happen.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not exactly the context I'm looking for, but that's fine. I'm thinking like former first-round pick who we think sucks, but had resurrects their career.
Trey Lance.
If that happens,
wherever he is, Trey Lance.
Really?
No, no. He's a backup for sure now. He's not starting ever again. I don't think.
Yeah, like he couldn't win like the third string job in Dallas. Like, okay, yeah, it makes sense.
Don't worry, I'm just throwing out.
I don't know. It's not necessarily going to happen every year. Is kind of what I'm thinking. But if there was a breakout candidate, honestly, I kind of thought like Trevor Lawrence might be the candidate.
Oh yeah, I guess he kind of. But he's been decent at least. He hasn't just been terrible like some of these others.
I guess
he'd be more like Baker, I guess.
Yeah, that's entirely possible. Yeah.
I don't know. Where's Mac Jones right now? He's in San Francisco, right?
He's in San Francisco.
Okay, so if Brock Purdy gets injured, I would predict a Mac Jones breakout. Just because he's in San Francisco.
I feel like Mac Jones is actually a decent candidate to break out at some point. Maybe not in San Francisco, but I mean that's what Sam Darnold did. He went to San Francisco as a backup, and then got signed to Minnesota and broke out there.
Yeah, it just depends on where he goes next.
All the same trajectory.
Yeah.
I mean, watch J.J. McCarthy fail, and then well, J.J. McCarthy failed, and the Vikings signed Mac Jones. That doesn't even sound right, though. I don't think that doesn't sound like a story that's going to happen.
Oh, that's wild.
When he goes to San Francisco, it was this offseason. He was on the Jaguars last year, played a few games because Trevor Lawrence got hurt. He got hurt by Al-Shazier in what was a totally reasonable football hit because he slid late, but everyone got outraged. So, he got suspended like 2 or 4 games or something like that. But Mac Jones played a few games on the Jaguars, and now he's on the 49ers. Yeah, exactly. That is funny. They were considering Trey Lance or Mac Jones, and they get Mac Jones. Kyle Shanahan finally gets his hands on Mac Jones, so we'll see, where that goes.
That was not reasonable, he says. Oh man,
it was not reasonable.
The hit.
Oh. It was. The hit is excusable, the forearm to the head. Okay, well, maybe if there's some technicality. My thing is just like, I thought Trevor like slid early or slid late, and like I just think people just got too outraged, honestly.
Ooh.
I guess it might have been like
Kenny Pickett. It's gonna be Kenny Pickett in Cleveland. That's right.
In Cleveland?
Oh yeah.
No. Not in Cleveland. I could see it elsewhere, but
oh hey, they got a good roster, don't they? Maybe
they don't have any receivers. Really.
Don't they have They have Judy.
I know they have Judy.
That's it. They got Cedric
Jerry
Tillman.
Judy's their number 1 receiver.
Cedric Tillman's pretty decent.
Cedric Tillman, who?
I'm pretty sure that's his name. He was good last year when he.
No, you're right. Super Bowl champion. Yeah, who needs a breakout year? He's already a Super Bowl champion. He broke out when he went on the field in the Super Bowl.
Hey, I'm just saying. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he was like he's starting at some point and he's decent for them. I don't think he's gonna be really good or anything, but he won games for Pittsburgh at least, for whatever that's worth. Sorry, Mike Tomlin won those games. He's not
like it was just the defense and like the coaching. And
my argument would be that Kevin Stefanski is a really good coach, and I think Cleveland has the pieces on defense to be really good on defense like they were 2 years ago. So I mean, I could kind of see a scenario.
Okay, so you actually think there's a chance that Kenny Pickett sort of is the starter, or not as the starter. I'm going ahead of myself, but you think there's a chance that he breaks out, is what you're saying?
I think there's a chance. I'm not gonna predict it, but there's a chance. Like if we're trying to find former first round picks who could wind up being starters on new teams at some point and get a chance to break out, Kenny Pickett's name should be on the list. He's gonna have a better.
Okay, do you think there's like a realistic chance? Because I think like a lot of people theoretically have a chance. You could make a case for like Zach Wilson, Daniel Jones, Kenny Pickett.
I think Kenny Pickett is more realistic than Zach Wilson, at least.
Yeah, that's fair.
It really depends on who gets to start in Cleveland. I'm guessing Shedeur is going to get more starts than Kenny Pickett, just because he was.
I think the outliers 2023. Right, 2023 was when they went 11-5 and lost in the first round of the playoffs, but. Why did they suck last year? They sucked, I think, because of inconsistent quarterback play, is my understanding, and also they had, like injuries. Like, I'm not mistaken. Like, didn't well, Nick Chubb was hurt, but he was also injured in 2023. So I know that's not necessarily valid. But didn't they have some Didn't Myles Garrett get hurt, or am I making that up?
I'm not sure. I think the defense regressed.
Yeah, that was
the offensive line regressed, and quarterback play was a big mess.
Yeah. Is at the end of the season. I mean, their injury list is actually pretty long. I don't know what's average by the end of the season. They had at least it looks like 20 players on injured reserve. Let me list out who was on injured reserve at the end of the season. So and I'm just listing out recognizable names. Nick Chubb, Jerome Ford, Nick Harris is a center. Nyheim Hines. I didn't realize they had him. I guess they were desperate at running back. And their running back room at the end of the season was Deonta Foreman and John Kelly.
Yikes.
Let's see. DeJuan Jones, I think, was a
young
first or second round pick or something. Greg Newsome, David Njoku, JOK, Cedric Tillman, Deshaun Watson. Oh, Deshaun Watson was on IR, so impactful. Jedrick Wills. So yeah, they had a lot of offensive linemen down, a lot of running backs down. I think they just had a lot of injuries.
I'm sure that contributed.
Their defense wasn't good. Yeah, they didn't have JOK or Greg Newsome, so I think they had injuries on both sides of the ball.
Well, I don't know. They'll probably be better on defense this year, at least. I'm not over here predicting a Kenny Pickett breakout, but you were asking for potential names. That's someone who came to mind as a former first round pick. Fair. So.
I mean, honestly, that is actually I actually didn't think about that. I actually could see that as something to where he does have the breakout year. No one saw it coming, and then we're gonna be like, "See, we told you."
Told you it was possible.
I should more think about the more. I mean, yeah, it's possible. I'm not predicting it.
I'm not predicting it.
You know.
I'm not predicting anyone in that offense is starting. It's a mess.
Yeah, let's go ahead and transition if you're good with it. I want to talk a little bit about CJ Stroud because Peyton Manning had a quote about CJ Stroud. And anytime one of the greatest quarterbacks ever has a quote about my starting quarterback, I want to talk about it at least a little bit. And I'll read you the quote, which is that Peyton Manning on CJ Stroud. I believe this was there's this event that CJ Stroud and Bryce Young and Caleb Williams were at.
Yeah.
It was this whole. Did you see that?
I mean, I saw glimpses of it from Panthers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think there's something related to that. Anyway, Peyton Manning on CJ Stroud's sophomore slump. He went to the playoffs in his second year. He was 22. Let's be careful saying it was a down year. I didn't win a playoff game till my 6th year. He's 2 for 2. Which, honestly, the first thing I think of it's a little wild that Peyton Manning didn't win a playoff game until his 6th year. It's I feel like there are a lot of quarterbacks who are waiting on their first playoff win, like Justin Herbert, Tua. I don't know, but I feel like there are a lot of quarterbacks who were still waiting on their playoff win. Yet Peyton Manning, I know it's a different era and stuff like that, but he didn't win his first playoff game until till his 6th year, which is honestly kind of wild. I think also he mentioned in a different quote that he started with he led the league in interceptions his rookie year. He had 28 his rookie year, and his first 3 games he had 11 or something like that, or 10. But okay, I'll let you talk about Stroud. Right? Did Manning suck in his first few years? He definitely sucked his first year. I think. I don't know about his second. I'd have to do the research. But anyway, I think what I saw from the comments Which honestly, like, I want to agree, but also I'm sure I've been on record saying that CJ Stroud had a down year. I saw a lot of comments which were like, CJ Stroud didn't have a down year or sophomore slump. The offensive line did, the receivers did, or whatever. I always say the play calling did. Like, I thought he had a horrible play caller. But anyway, my take is that, like, yes, you can say, I think two things can be true. I think that, CJ Stroud, the team around him failed, but also he didn't have the greatest year himself.
Right.
Like, if you're going to be so good, you have to be at least somewhat good enough to, like, sort of, like, overcome that.
It goes hand in
hand. And honestly,
right?
also, Peyton Manning. Yeah. And Peyton Manning's mentioning playoff wins, which, like, I mean, of course, he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, but, like, it's more than just, like, playoff wins. Like, Mark Sanchez won a lot of playoff games. Like, no one thinks he's good. So, like, I don't think just because he won, like, playoff games means that he's, like, he's Peyton Manning, right? But, anyway, I don't know. What's your thoughts? Do you think CJ Stroud technically had a sophomore slump, or do you think it's just the team around him?
So, I think based on how much he and the team accomplished in his rookie season, it's really hard to not say that year 2 was a down year. Like, you compare the two, compared to year 1, year 2 was absolutely a down year, if you look at it from that point of view. If you add in comparing it to Manning's career, then yeah, obviously Stroud is off to an amazing start. I think that same could be said for a lot of quarterbacks if you want to go there. I think that was a really nice comment for Peyton Manning to make about CJ Stroud. But no, Stroud had a down year in year 2, and yes, it was because of the play calling and the offensive line, and there were some injuries too, but it goes hand in hand, He had a down year, but it was because of all these other factors. That's true. But it was still a down year. And that doesn't mean he's just bad now or anything. I think we would both still say he's a top 10 quarterback, so it's not like he's just not good anymore. He did have a down year compared to year 1, and it's okay. That's fine. Just keep moving forward. Let's focus on year 3.
Honestly, I think that hits the nail on the head. I mean, he did have a down year. Like, no one's gonna say, like, oh, he improved. I mean, maybe, like, internally he improved. Like, I'm sure he got, like, way more experience and, like, is more battle tested now, but his numbers definitely dipped. And also, I was actually just curious, like, Peyton Manning's first 6 years, because, like, Sudoku was asking if he sucked his first 6 years, and I knew he sucked his first year. I didn't know about the others, so
okay.
I'll just kind of read to you his, like, basically resume from, like, for his first 6 years. So his first year, 3-13 and 26 touchdowns, 28 picks, pass rating 71, so not great. His second year, he went 13-3, decent statistics, 26-15, touchdown, interception. In 2000, the team went 10-6. I guess he led the league in passing yards, 33 touchdowns, which also led the league. So he had a pretty good third season. 2001, 6-10, 26-23, so a little bit down there. And I know it looks like I'm cherry picking stats, but I'm just trying to, like, just get you a picture. I can't read, like, every single stat, like completion percentage, average per attempt. I'm just reading, like, what
3-13 to 13-3 is an insane turnaround. That's for sure.
Yeah. 2002, 10-6, 27-19, 88 rating, not bad. And then 2003, which was the first year he won a playoff game, and also that wasn't his Super Bowl year though. That was his first MVP year. It went 12-4, 67 completion, which led the league, 4,200 yards, which led the league. His yards per game also led the league, and 29 touchdowns to 10 picks. So I guess to answer the question, he had a 121 rating the season after, which is crazy. In 2004, he threw 49 touchdowns and 10 picks, which is that's actually an insane season. Because, like, quarterback ratings, like, I know it's a little bit of a dumb stat, but if you have, like, a 120 quarterback rating, I feel like in today's league, if you have that throughout the whole course of a season, that's insane. Let alone back then.
For sure.
Yeah. So anyway, 3-13 to 13-3 is insane. I mean, that's why he was the number 1 overall pick and one of the only true generational, like, I know we talk about, oh, Caleb Williams was generational, Trevor Lawrence, like, no, those guys were not generational. The only generational number 1 overall picks, in my opinion, were, like, Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, John Elway, maybe. There's someone else I forget, but I feel like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I remember I did hear something recently, like Matthew Stafford in that conversation as well, which
I've never heard anyone call him generational. That's new.
I think back then he was generational. I think we just forget because it was the Lions.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I would have heard that though as a Georgia fan. I mean, I didn't watch him play at Georgia, obviously. That was really long ago for me.
Well, like I feel like I vaguely heard that like you can't say Lawrence isn't generational in hindsight. While also saying Luck is generational. Uh, I see what you're saying. Um, I don't know. I mean, I think Luck. I mean, not Luck. I think Lawrence just got a little bit overhyped. Um, and I think ultimately, like revisionist history does come into play. Like, if you were like this generational talent and then you suck, like, were you really like all that as a prospect? Like, I don't know. I see what you're saying though, but what was I saying earlier? I forgot. It's okay. Oh yeah, Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah. So I feel like there was like some teams were saying that like, or there were some rumors that like he would have gone 1 overall if he went out of high school, like straight to the NFL. So I think he was seen as a generational. I think we just forgot that he was, because he's on the Lions.
I mean, hey, that was before my time, so I'm okay missing out on that. That's okay. I didn't know.
Yeah. Yep. All right. That is that. So yeah, I think like again, it's like the off season. There's not really any substance to the story, but it is cool that Peyton Manning sort of advocated for CJ Stroud.
No, he didn't. Stafford
No,
didn't go out
no,
of
no,
high
no,
school.
no. I was saying like there were like rumblings that like some teams would have taken him 1 overall if he had gone out of high school. No, he definitely didn't go out of high school.
That
This is
been
not
wild.
the NBA here. We're like
Yeah, he
Cooper
played.
Flagg's,
He played
like,
for my
20 years
dogs.
old,
He
and
played.
won
He
overall.
played for Georgia for a year or two.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Cool. Nice. Let me actually open up something real quick. Um, okay, do you know, based on my expression, what topic I want to talk about next?
I can guess. Yeah.
All right. So, all right. So what I wanted to do is kind of talk about there's another kind of like just like, and again it's like a dumb sort of like off season sort of thing, which is that I don't know. I think you're right. I don't know if we're gonna do it with a straight face. Let's try. Okay. All right. So there was like again like another kind of dumb story, which is that Brandon Ayum made a comment on his personal YouTube channel saying they was talking about trading me while I was off something / muscle relaxers and peeing in a cup on my bed. Couldn't walk for 10 weeks straight. Nobody trading for me. So essentially what Brandon Ayum is accusing the 49ers of is trying to trade him while he was hurt. So what's your reaction? Okay, I can't.
Yeah. I mean, I know why you're laughing because this story is just kind of wild. I can't believe that they were really trying to trade Brandon Ayum. If they were trying to trade Brandon Ayum like that, I think that's kind of wild. But I mean, it's their right to trade a player like Brandon Ayum. I mean, it's up to them. I don't know. Just
yeah.
I wonder how valid the story is.
No, I mean, like, well, the thing about Brandon Ayum is, well, I mean, he was hurt, which I think is understandable. I don't know, like, why, like, I think you were saying, like, before our podcast, like, why would the Niners try to trade him? Like, it's also, like, I don't know, it's also kind of dumb. Like, honestly, I think, like, well, I think there was, like rumors that, like, like, they tried to trade him, or they were thinking about trading Ayum, before his extension, right? Because he had offers from like the Patriots and Steelers, I think. Yeah, but then like I think the thing was like they had these offers out, and Ayum was like, "Well, I actually don't want to go there," so it's extended. And I guess maybe they did try to trade. I think the thing is he just didn't have any suitors. And like also like why are you just saying this on like a YouTube post? Like that's kind of ridiculous.
That is
right?
weird. Of all the places to say that, I mean, Brandon Ayum has other social media, right? Doesn't he have Twitter at least, or maybe Instagram? A lot of people, a lot of receivers like to post
Twitter,
cryptically on there. But YouTube,
right? So
it's like he didn't want it to be found.
I don't know, but it did, and yeah, I mean, what is story Brandon Ayum? He like demands all this money, and then he's just gets injured and not all that good. So I don't know. Do you think like Sudoku was asking about like breakout players? Do you think Brandon Ayum could break out, or do you think he's just kind of washed?
He could break out. I'm not going to predict an Ayum breakout here.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he's that. He's good, but I don't think he's gonna top his season from not last year, the year before, I guess.
Yeah.
He's fine.
That's gonna be
I
pretty.
don't think he's like a wide receiver 1 caliber player, to be honest. I think he's like high end wide receiver 2 at his peak so far. I don't know. Like I've been on record saying I think Jawan Jennings is wide receiver 1 in that offense, even above Brandon Ayum. That's just my take, though. I think Jawan Jennings is better than Brandon Ayum.
Yeah, I probably agree. I think Brandon Ayum, I think he can have like a solid, like he's probably a solid like wide receiver 2, honestly, who just had a really good season. And what was that, 23 or 22, something like that? But
Yeah,
just
23, I think.
Yeah, former first round pick Brandon Ayum. He was in that crazy draft class with like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase.
Yeah, into the first round.
The very first receiver taken. Yeah, very first receiver taken was Henry Ruggs, which is kind of wild, but yeah, he was former first round pick, Brandon Ayum. All right, is that all we want to talk about, Brandon Ayum?
Yeah, I don't really have much more to say about Brandon Ayum. I think it's kind of a non-story. I don't think it's gonna go anywhere. He's in San Francisco right now, and he's getting paid to be there. I don't know why he's revealing what he's revealing, if it's even true. Who's to say, really? I guess it could lead to more drama, but I don't know. It's probably just nothing, and whatever. You do you, Brandon Ayum. You do you.
I mean, he's just he anyone can post anything. Like I don't really think there's much to it. Is Ruggs still imprisoned? Yes. Okay. All right.
Yeah, that is enough about Brandon Ayum.
Yes.
Whew, okay, I think we did a good job. That somehow that can be shaped into a good video.
I think we can edit it and like make it. So Sudoku, for context, like obviously like this is like not really a story, but we wanted to like do a segment just saying Brandon Ayum the whole time with a straight face, which we failed, or I failed at least, but
I tried to hide.
that's what we're going for. Right.
Yeah, I mean, the story is real.
Okay.
The story is real. It's just an excuse for us to do what we just did, though.
Yeah, exactly. Brandon Ayum. Okay.
All right.
Topics next. We talk about.
Someday we're gonna explain to people what that even means. Why we do that.
Right. Yeah, when we get famous, it's gonna be our whole meme, which is funny. Do you want to talk about another? Okay, I'm looking at our outline. Because there's some other like stuff we can talk about. Do you want to talk about another like dumb story real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Right. Well, I'm just disappointed that I kind of broke character, but I think it was pretty successful.
I mean, I don't blame you.
Let me just find it. So, right, that was funny. No, this is definitely not awkward. I'm trying to look for like a post where I can just kind of quote it from. But was it talking about the Deontay Johnson sort of story?
Oh yeah, he made himself look even worse.
He did make himself look even worse. Is it not here? Wait, hold on. Deontay, where are you? Where is Deontay? Oh, there he is. Oh, he was a Raven. I forgot about that. Okay, so. And also for these posts, just to give the credit, I use JPA Football, like the Instagram account, to like kind of get these like news stories and like kind of put it all together. Okay. And they cite their sources. So JPA Football, shout out to you. Don't sue, although there wouldn't be a reason to, because I can just anyway. So just one other silly story. Former Ravens wide receiver Deontay Johnson. He's also former Texans wide receiver and Steelers, I believe, and current Browns
and Panthers.
Anyway, former Ravens. That's true, yeah. Former Ravens wide receiver Deontay Johnson says he refused to enter a game in Baltimore last year because he felt ice cold, he told reporters. I believe like that game was it was only like 42 degrees or something like that. But anyway, I wasn't getting into no run plays, no passing plays, or nothing. It was cold. End of the third, going to the fourth, they were like, Tay, we need you. I was like, nah, I don't think it was a good idea for me. Like, my legs are already ice cold, and I didn't want to go out there and put bad stuff on film. It's not like I didn't want to go into the game. Well, you obviously didn't. But leading up into the point, I had been through so much. I told them I'm not finna go in it, so I just sat on the bench, and that's when they suspended me. So essentially, Deontay Johnson did not go into a game because it was too shivering cold, even though it was 42 degrees in Baltimore.
I love that this isn't even a rumor. It's a thing that he said it. This is coming from him. He didn't even have to say this, and this came out of nowhere, just from him. So I think it's kind of wild too, because he went to Cleveland. He's gonna be playing in even colder weather there, probably. Like, I didn't think that one.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, it just makes him look worse. Like the whole thing about film, like it just looks worse. It looks worse that you don't play.
That's a very selfish approach. Like he's saying he wouldn't go in because he doesn't want to put anything bad on film. That's a very selfish approach because you're refusing
but like
to help
also
the team.
honest, yeah, it is selfish. But also honestly, if I'm like a scout or whatever, like wouldn't it be more valuable to see film where a guy's like just like struggling in the cold, like doing his best, rather than like, oh, I'll just go and plays where I feel like it. Like I feel like if I'm like, not maybe for like Deontay Johnson, it wouldn't really matter because he kind of sucks and is like a not a great person, but but like if I'm like, I don't know, if I'm like a rookie and like, or like a draft pick or something like that, and I need film out there, like I feel like it would look good if you're like out there, even if you like drop some balls or something. If you're just like, just like kind of struggling out there, I feel like that would look good. Steelers wide receivers are always divas. Yeah, that's true.
Are you ready for George Pickens to start fighting Jerry Jones at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium next year? It's gonna happen.
Did you see that George Pickens like ditched his youth football camp?
Just average Steelers wide receiver story, apparently. It's wild stuff.
Yeah. So for context, I don't know if you know Sudoku, but essentially, I put it in our Discord just to make fun of him. But he had committed to like a youth football camp in Pittsburgh, and even after he was traded to Dallas, his team still confirmed that he'd do it, and then he just didn't do it. So,
oof,
what a guy.
Yeah,
oof,
very good guy. He was like that at Georgia too, just an amazing person. No, he wasn't. It's been rough. The Steelers didn't make him a diva. The Steelers saw him as a diva at Georgia and thought, yes, that's our guy.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, Antonio Brown, who's obviously the godfather of them, who recently is apparently he's like wanted for arrest.
He is always in the news for the wrong reasons. It's insane.
Yeah, and honestly, like I like saw the headline of like fill in the blank attempt, and we know what he attempted, right? Apparently, yes. And I was like not shocked at all. Like if like any other play, even like someone questionable, like if like Tyreek Hill did that, I feel like I'd be a little surprised. But like, and the fact that Antonio Brown did it, it was just like, yeah, like
well, it is Antonio Brown, so you never know what you're gonna get. Yeah,
right.
What a mess.
Model citizen, exactly. Yes, I mean, no, I mean, I think we have it all wrong. I think like people like Antonio Brown and like George Pickens, like Deontay Johnson. I feel like we should like look up to these guys. Like, they're like really outstanding moral citizens. They do all the right things. And just like, yeah, I think if you have like a, if you have a child or someone who wants to like go into football, you should like, you should show them, you point to them like Deontay Johnson and Antonio Brown and George Pickens and all those guys, and just be like, yeah, be like them, but not only like as players, but also off the field. They lead by example, right? So I think we have it all wrong.
We do have it all wrong, but for a different reason. I think they're really just showing us what not to do. And I can appreciate that. Everything we watch these guys do, these are things we should never, ever, ever do. So now we have just the blueprint for life, basically. So we can thank them for that.
Yeah, I just forgot to mention that part, but I appreciate
Myles Garrett genuinely called Deshaun Watson a model citizen.
I did see that, yes. Yeah, he said he was a model citizen, but also that, like, well, it is a real quote. He did actually say that. Yeah. But he said something like he was a model citizen or something for the most part, which I thought was kind of weird to throw that in. Like, if you're gonna vouch for him, you might as well go all the way. But
yeah, aside from all of the bad stuff, he's a model citizen.
you have to wonder like what those locker rooms are like when like Deshaun Watson is there or like someone who's a bad guy. Like, is there tension? Is he like actually able to like kind of dap people up, be like, "Yo, what's up?" Especially if you have a quarterback, like that has to be like
It's
wild.
probably
Like
a
no
little bit
one
of both,
really.
if I had to imagine. There's some people who go with it, some people who ignore him completely, some people who confront him and have beef with him. It's just how you handle that as a person, I guess.
Yeah, I think Deshaun Watson got married recently, which
I'm sorry.
I mean,
Sucks for her.
yeah,
Whoever the
yeah.
wife
Well, I
is.
just yeah, no, his wife is someone. I think her name is Jilly Anais or something like that. I just know that because like well, they were dating before all that stuff came out, and like she's still with him. So like
That is impressive
I think we can.
loyalty, I
I
guess.
think we can. I think we can reason to assume why she is with him. I think we can
Money.
venture to guess.
Uh,
Whoa. Yeah. Anyway, wow. We
man.
suddenly start talking about very questionable people in the NFL, but yeah. Um. Anywho, the only other topics I really wrote down, I mean, apparently Russell Wilson went to New York because he wanted to play with Malik Neighbors. I mean, he kind of like called him out specifically, called him out in a good way, that is.
Russ went to
But
New
like,
York because of
you
Malik
know,
Neighbors. That's the story. He went to New York because who else was he
yeah,
gonna go to? Honestly, to be a starter.
that's true. He didn't really have very many other options. Uh,
He's being good to his receiver with that statement, but he wasn't going anywhere else. I don't think Pittsburgh really wanted him. They were gonna get Rodgers at some point anyway, as it turns out. If he hadn't signed with New York, he has nowhere to go as of today. So I guess Cleveland was
New
a team to
Orleans.
watch. Oh yeah, New Orleans. I'd be okay with that. Let him go there. That works for me.
Yes. What a show that would be, right? Um,
Oh gosh.
the other non-story, the other non-story is that apparently Tom Brady didn't want the Raiders to sign Sam Darnold. They told them not to sign Sam Darnold or something like that. Which I think it's a non-story. If it's true, it's actually a little interesting because it's like I don't know. Again, well, he didn't say it. It's just like some rumor or alleged or something like
Hmm.
that. And I'm just like, honestly, couldn't. Like, I mean, it might suck a little bit for Sam Darnold hearing that, but honestly, I couldn't care it less. Like,
I mean, if you're
I
Sam
mean, if you're Sam
Darnold, you're
Darnold,
in
like,
Seattle with a bunch of money. You're happy. You're good.
yeah, and like Kyle Shanahan and Aiden O'Connell, not Aiden, who's the
Kevin.
Vikings coach?
Kevin O'Connell.
Kevin O'Connell. Like, yeah, they believed in you, and like, you know, so these brilliant offensive minds believed in you, and then yeah, you go to Seattle, you get paid a ton. Like, yeah, I mean, again, just your average non-story, in my opinion.
Probably. I mean, if it's true that Brady thought that, I don't really blame him. I feel like the Raiders. I don't know if I ever said it or not when free agency was happening, but they wouldn't have been a good fit for Darnold. I think he would just suffer there.
Mm,
I'm not sure if Seattle's a good fit or not. I'm not really sure what to make of their offensive line right now, but I mean, at least they have JSN, so that's great. And Cooper Kupp is there too. That's going to be a sneaky good duo, in
yeah,
my opinion. And they got a good run game. With the Raiders at the time, they just had Brock Bowers, and then, according to anyone else who spoke about the Raiders, they had nobody else. So,
right. Yeah, that seems to be the case. Do they still have Jacoby Myers,
they
or
do.
is he
Yeah.
like or yeah? I
Yeah, they got
think
him.
he's
He's
always
their
been some.
wide receiver one still, but he's very disrespected. One of the best wide receiver twos in the league, in my opinion. Problem is, he has to be the wide
Yeah, I
receiver
think
one.
so.
But with Brock Bowers there, he basically is wide receiver two.
That's true. Yeah.
And now they got
Yep.
GT at running back, so I mean, they got weapons. They're going to be a fun team. I think Geno fits that team better than Sam Darnold was going to, though. But anyway, it's
Right.
probably just a non-story. It doesn't matter much.
Non-story, which is why we have the mailbag or the mailbox, which is where essentially you just write in questions. It is your show. So if you ask a good question, I mean, we've had some questions we don't really like which NFL teams would, you know, like the best at baseball or something. And if you ask this and you're watching, no offense to you, but honestly, like I'm not really interested in
we don't know
comparing,
baseball, honestly. We wouldn't be able to answer
Yeah,
that.
exactly. So we want thought-provoking questions like the one Sudoku asked earlier, which is basically like, why was Anthony Richardson drafted so high? And he also asked a couple of other good questions. He's thrown for multiple Raiders touchdowns too. Oh, really? Not Genty. Jacoby Myers did? That's actually funny. Or Brock Bowers. I guess
feel like
I
we're
assume it's
talking about
Myers.
Sam Darnold, the way he said it. Or Gino.
Oh.
The interceptions.
Oh.
I assume somehow. Probably Darnold. When he was with the
Probably.
Jets.
Multiple pick sixes. That's probably about right.
You can see that.
That's funny.
I don't know.
So, yeah. Sudoku asks, which players do you think will take a huge step forward this year? Surprises. And what players would we have expected to be good this year, but we think are washed, aka disappointments?
Oh, he
threw one
Jacoby
passing
Myers.
touchdown. Oh yeah. That's kind of what I thought too.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh
yeah.
You want to start with like breakout players? Like, do you have any like breakout candidates for the 2025 NFL season?
I'm gonna name one, and not just because Sudoku is here and is a Seahawks fan, but Jackson Smith-Njigba is high on my list of breakout players. I will be targeting him in my fantasy football drafts. Fair warning, don't take him from me. So I expect him to be really good. I was saying, I think even before they traded DK Metcalf, that he's wide receiver 1 there. And no offense to DK, but JSN's already better, is what I was thinking. And I'm not worried about the arrival of Cooper Kupp. I think JSN is wide receiver 1 in Seattle. I think he's going to take another step forward. I expect a big season from him. I don't feel like a lot of people are talking about him. I don't feel like a lot of people really talk about Seattle much anyway. JSN broke out last year. Yeah, I mean, I would count that as a breakout. He crossed 1,000 yards. But I don't hear anyone talking about him taking another leap. I'm thinking like 1,300 yards this year. Maybe
13, 14, yeah.
Yeah.
I think what he's saying is that he could kind of be like one of the best receivers in the league. Like
I think
this
he
time
could
next
enter
year. Like
top 10 conversations. I guess he was close last year. I'm looking up stats. He was 1130, so he was close to top 10. And receivers had a down year last year overall, in my opinion. 1282 was good for third in the league. That was Brian Thomas Jr., by the way.
Right.
So,
1282 was good for third.
Yeah, that's what Brian Thomas had. 1282. That was third in the league.
So were Chase and Jefferson 1 and 2?
Yeah, Chase was 1, Jefferson was 2.
Interesting. I mean, that makes sense, but
Yeah.
that's Brian Thomas was 3. Wow, I actually didn't. I knew he had a good season. I didn't realize so Brian Thomas had a better season than like Malik Neighbors.
He did, based on receiving yards at least. I mean, Malik Neighbors played 2
That's
fewer
fair.
games, to be fair.
Okay. That checks out.
Yeah.
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 My kind of like my kind of candidate for breakout year or breakout candidate, it's a little random, but I think it's also one that no one's really necessarily talking about. I mean, people are talking about him, but it's tough. You might even argue like, is this a breakout year? Because like you might have argued he had a good rookie season, so it's like maybe you'd argue like second year is too early for a breakout. I'm not exactly sure, but I think Bucky Irving could be really,
Dude,
really good.
Have you seen the way Tampa fans talk about him? It's insane. It's like he's just already the best running back in the league. A lot of fans are like that too around the league. Like they're voting the Bucks backfield as a top 5 unit. Some people are saying that. It's like it's Bucky Irving and Rashad White.
I mean,
and they might be, but we're already saying that as if he's already up there. Like, come on, I don't know. It's just kind of wild to me.
Well, I'm saying this in the context of I think he could break out. I'm not saying he is currently
fans
like a top 3 running back.
They talk about him like he already is. That's what I'm saying.
I also promise I didn't do this to like make you mad. I actually kind of forgot it was division rival.
Sure.
It is interesting. Yeah, exactly. But no, his rookie season, and keep in mind he was kind of competing with like Rashad White for carries. He only started 3 games, but he played all 17. He had 207 attempts, 1,100 yards, 5.4 yards per carry, and 8 touchdowns. So He had a pretty good rookie season, and yeah, I think he's kind of someone flying a little bit under the radar as someone who could be one of the best running backs in the world.
I don't know where you're getting that. He's not flying under the radar to me. I'm hearing it left and right, dude. I'm hearing tons and
Well,
tons
I'm
about
not,
Bucky Irving.
so
That's crazy. Our algorithms
I mean
must be
him
completely
and like
different. Yeah, they glaze Bucky.
I
Okay,
almost wanted to
Sudoku
say
knows. Sudoku knows. They are insane with it.
a glazed Buck. Well, okay, well, I think if it's a cohort of Buccaneers fans, I don't really. Well, I don't know. I don't necessarily hear that. Like, I think I listen to more like national media, and like they don't really talk about Bucky Irving as much. So like I hear. I'm not saying like no one knows about he's some obscure player, and like suddenly he's
Right.
gonna be really good. But honestly, I almost wanted to say again in division, Bijan Robinson could like kind of be
He's
like
already
the like
he had 1456 rushing yards last year, dude. What do you
I
want him to do
know
this year?
that's why I said I wanted to say because you could argue he's already broken up, but I could see him having like a Saquon Barkley type sort of like renaissance.
Don't speak that into existence, please.
Okay, actually, I kind of did say that to make you mad. I don't
Uh-huh.
think he's Saquon Barkley, but I do think he could be really good. Like
He's got the talent for it. My running
he's up
back
there.
candidate for in terms of a breakout player, you went Bucky Irving, which is fair. It's what everyone's doing. I'm going Chase Brown. I think Chase Brown has a good chance to break out in that lethal Cincinnati offense. He wasn't really the starter for most of last year, I don't believe. I think he was splitting with was it Zach Moss early on, and he took over the job at some point.
I think so.
Yeah.
Right.
And he was pretty good down the stretch, and now he's got another offseason to train, and now he's got a full grip on the starting job. I could see him having a really good year. Pulling up the stats, he almost got to 1,000 rushing yards last year. I could see him getting closer to I think he could finish in the top 10 this year for rushing. That's what I'm watching for a breakout. So I'm looking through the running backs. That's really one of the only names that kind of pops off the screen for me. Is Chase Brown is in for a possible breakout. Bucky Irving would be up there too. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. There aren't really a lot of running backs who are aside from rookies, I guess there aren't really running backs I just look at and go, yeah, I could see you breaking out this year because a lot of the running backs are just already established. I'm not about to say Javonte Williams is breaking out in Dallas.
Right. I think honestly, if you just want like I feel like now I'd have to like kind of do the research and like kind of prove. But honestly, I feel like if you want to like look for like which I guess doesn't necessarily bode to your point on the Bengals with Zach Moss or not Zach Moss, the other guy, Chase Brown. But anyway, I'm just kind of saying it as an aside. I kind of have a hypothesis that you can just look at the top offensive lines just be like, okay, they're running back. If they have like an emerging running back, so I mean, there's some like the Eagles, for instance, they have Saquon. Like he's not breaking out. He like we know what he is, right? But like, and I'm looking at this is from Fantasy Points, which I don't know how reputable they are, but I just googled 2025 top offensive lines. They were the first result. I'm just going with them. So, Eagles are one. The Broncos apparently have the second best offensive line. So, who's there? Don't they? Is it like Hamlin or Hamler or something? Oh, J.K.
Yeah, J.K. Dobbins
right.
and
Don't
RJ
they have a
Harvey.
rookie, though?
Yeah, RJ Harvey's the rookie.
Harvey. Okay.
Yeah, we talked a little about him. He's someone to target in fantasy drafts for whenever he gets the starting job.
Yes. And yeah, Tampa Bay Buccaneers are up there. I think that's actually kind of what prompted me to say Bucky Irving, because apparently the Bucs have a top 3 offensive line. So, that's good. Ravens, they have Derrick Henry. Detroit Lions, we know what they are. Bills. Ooh, James Cook. Could he break out? Like actually,
I guess
break out?
He could. Yeah. It's
James
harder for him when you
Cook.
got Josh Allen taking touches in the run game too. But I mean, he was.
I guess so.
He cracked 1,000 rushing yards last year, and he had the 16 touchdowns. So if you want to argue based on touchdowns, he broke out last year.
Yeah, but I think a breakout for him would be like something like 1,400 yards and like even like less touchdowns. We get like more yards. I do agree though; it might be hard with Josh Allen.
Yeah, that's
Colts,
one I won't predict.
The Cardinals have the 8th best offensive line. Okay, saying the Cardinals have the 8th best, but anyway, Rams, Chargers. At this point, we're kind of getting to territory. It doesn't necessarily matter that much, but yeah. So pretty interesting stuff.
Oh, Not Breece Hall, the backup to Breece Hall. He's a name to watch in case Hall just continues to go downhill.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
I don't remember his name. He's a young player, rookie.
No, I know him too. Oh gosh. We need to play. Who's gonna be the first to come up with it? It's Traylon. Is it Traylon something? No. Braylon Allen, right?
Braylon Allen. I think that's it. I'm gonna look it up to confirm now.
He fumbled at the 1 yard line against us, I believe, in that on that Thursday night game. Nice. Yeah, I remember that.
Okay. Well, he's a potential breakout candidate if he gets the touches. Kind of a big if, and also Justin Fields is a quarterback.
I mean,
so
if he doesn't fumble his touchdowns on the 1 yard line, then he certainly will be.
It would be more of a mini breakout. Like he could be the new running back of the future for the Jets, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, sure.
I'll name one more player as a potential breakout, and I know this is different because it is a rookie I'm gonna name, but I'm staying in Tampa. I think Emeka Egbuka could actually break out. I know he's wide receiver 3 in Tampa, but we don't really know how good Chris Godwin's gonna be when he's back to full health. And Mike Evans, I assume he's getting his 1,000 yards, but if we're being honest, no one wants to talk about it. He is getting older, and at some point, he's not gonna get that 1,000 yards. You would think. I'm not saying that's gonna be this year. But I do think Emeka Egbuka, I mean, they drafted him in the first round when they didn't have a glaring need at receiver. I think they do have plans for him in that offense, and I could see him coming in and being like one of the best, if not the best receiver out of this draft class in year 1. So he would be a name to watch in that Tampa offense.
Yeah, you're saying Evans' 1,000 yard streak might end. I'm kind of honestly saying that, I think within 2 years, Chris Godwin and Evans could be broken up. I actually predict that. I think we assume that
right now reminds me of what Seattle did when they drafted JSN, and then the Lockett DK Metcalf duo broke up. Well, this year I guess they were both gone.
You can't draft a receiver. You have Evans and Godwin. Well, yeah, they're not going to last forever.
Unfortunately,
they'll get expensive and Unfortunately for Bucks fans, not. Okay, but what about players? What about players who are gonna disappoint?
Oh wait, before we do that, do we have any quarterbacks who we think will break out? Because we only named receivers and running backs. I feel like we should name quarterbacks if we have any, at least.
Yeah, I actually kind of did avoid naming quarterbacks. I kind of thought okay. I guess we kind of did have this discussion earlier. Well, maybe it's a little bit different context. I guess we talked about quarterbacks who sucked, but I guess just general breakouts.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
His name starts with a B.
His name starts with a B.
His last name is Young.
So is he saying Brock Purdy will break out? Oh yeah, I can see Brock Purdy breaking out. I mean, he's coming back from injury, he'll be a little healthier. He'll have CMC back. I could actually see that. Okay, what are you thinking about someone else?
All right, thanks for hanging out, Sudoku. No worries. You take care. Man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Yep.
If I were to give a prediction on a quarterback breakout, and I don't mean it's a veteran who's randomly going to come through. Although Tua would be a name to watch there, I guess. If he stays healthy, he could have a breakout. You never know, I guess. I'm not predicting that, though. And Bryce, obviously, I think he's going to break out, I guess. Be average, at least. Caleb Williams is the name I'm watching, though. Based on the weapons he has in Chicago, and you got Ben Johnson there. I think he's going to be really good in year 2. I think he's going to break out. I think year 2 is going to be so much better in year 1 that we will call it a breakout. So that would be my name. I know that's kind of bold because it's a Chicago Bears quarterback, and I'm not even saying he's going to become the first to pass for 4,000 yards or 40 touchdowns or whatever it is. Although it wouldn't surprise me, but in a Ben Johnson offense, I think they like to run the ball. I actually think that's why he will break out. I think that's going to help a lot. The schemes he'll bring up, it'll make life easier on Caleb. So I do think he's going to have a successful year 2, and we will view it as a breakout. So,
I mean, I think that's actually raises a lot of good points. I mean, they fixed the offensive line, which every indication says if you have a fixed offensive line, you're going to improve. He has the weapons. He has the coach. I mean, I think I think a Caleb Williams breakout is very reasonable and expected. Yeah, no, I think that's good. Honestly, yeah, I think that's a pretty good answer. I think one of my answers might be like kind of based on like a previous answer, but I think like Trevor Lawrence could break out
Yeah.
just kind of randomly. I think like I think he has like now he has like Brian Thomas and Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter, right? Yeah, Travis Hunter to work with. Um and I think Liam Cohen, I think I think he could be like kind of like one of the like offensive I think he could be a pretty good offensive guru. I know he had that like cringe press conference Duval or whatever, but I think he could be I have a little bit of suspicion he could be pretty good, but
Okay.
you know, and he's like former 1 overall pick, and I know we were kind of making fun of him earlier about like, oh, he wasn't really generational, but he does have the talent. It exists, and I think it just kind of needs to be unlocked. He needs to have a good support system, and yeah, I think as a division rival, it kind of scares me for sure. But I think Trevor Lawrence breakout year, I would watch out for that.
Okay. One more quarterback I'm gonna name is Jordan Love, top 10 quarterback this season. I'm calling that a breakout. I think he'll be top 10. Like no debate in the top 10 is what I'm saying. Not like he's on the brink of top 10. You could argue he's top 10. I think he's firmly in the top 10. Where exactly, I don't know, but I think he's going to be up there, and he might even establish himself as the best quarterback in the NFC. Like I think he's going to take a step forward this year. What that means for the Packers, I don't know. But
I don't. So I don't necessarily disagree. I just kind of wonder, like, I mean, if we're going to the technicalities of it, I feel like you'd have to like have some MVP season or something to really break out in that way. Because I feel like we already know he's pretty good.
But it's really how good though. Because if we're looking at him, I got his stats pulled up. I know he did miss a couple of games, but he was 19th in the league in passing last year. Do you know that? He's only 19th.
Oh, I didn't realize that. And just passing yards?
Yeah, passing yards. He's below Kirk Cousins. Caleb Williams. Aren't really any other names I need to bring up there, I guess. But I was surprised he's even below Kirk Cousins though. Seems kind of crazy, right?
Yeah, Kirk Cousins did miss a few games. He got benched,
and he wasn't exactly good. Love also threw 11 interceptions, which I mean, I know there are other quarterbacks above him on this list that threw for a decent amount. I think like Goff had 12, Mayfield had 16. Good grief. But I think he can. He's going to cut down.
So you're kind of saying that he'll kind of like elevate to a level where it's like is way better than that.
Yeah, like right now he's based on his stats. Like last year, he's middle of the league. I think he'll firmly be in the top 10, and you could talk about him as the best quarterback in the conference at least. Maybe he'll be in the MVP discussion. Maybe he wins it. Maybe he's a long shot to win it. It could be a dark horse candidate in that race, to be honest. Because we're talking about the top quarterbacks in the NFC. I think you had Jared Goff as yours. Spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen that video yet, but I've seen it, so I can say it.
Well,
so
at this point, yeah.
Yeah. So Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels all come to mind. I think for most people, they come to mind before Jordan Love. That's going to change this year. I think he's going to be one of the first names, if not the first name, that comes to your mind when you go through the top quarterbacks in the conference. Still not going to say the Packers win that conference, or sorry, the division, but they'll be more of a threat in the playoffs this year. I think I have them as the 5 seed, so I believe in Green Bay this year more so than I probably should. But it's mostly because of Jordan Love. I think he's going to be good this year.
Yep, seems like it. Should I throw one out there?
If you wanna.
I'm gonna throw a little bit of a goofy. This is a little goofy one out there.
Okay.
What about Aaron Rodgers?
Oh man, you mean the guy who was 8th in the league in passing last year?
Sorry,
I said you mean the guy who was 8th in the league in passing last year? It's kind of weird to say that.
Okay, I'm just saying like. I
mean, it's
everyone
weird.
thinks
It's weird that Rodgers was that good statistically. Is what I mean. I didn't realize he was.
Well, what about his other stats? What about how did he rank in like his other like touchdowns, like pass ratings? I'm actually curious. I'm not even trying to like argue. He
had 28 touchdowns. Let me see if I can get that sorted. So he was 7th in the league in touchdowns. He had 11 interceptions, so not great for him. But again, we've seen like Baker had 16, so it's not like interceptions. Really
I'm not too worried about the interceptions. Yeah.
completion percentage, I think it was down a little bit from what he's used to, but it
Yeah.
was. Oh, where did it go? Hang on, I lost it. He completed 63% of his passes, so that's low for him.
Yeah.
So statistically, he's a top 10 quarterback last year.
Yeah, that's actually a little crazy. I wouldn't have. I knew he had better statistics than people thought, but I didn't even like realize it.
I didn't. I'm
And
realizing
I think that most of that was
his quarterback rating was 48. So that, I guess that I don't know how that's calculated, but that puts him at
like, well, that's not his
25th.
QBR though, right? 25th.
Oh, sorry, that's his QBR. Yeah, QBR.
His QBR was 40.
His QBR was 48, and let me find his rating.
Well, that's not the. I think it's a different metric. The one where like 100 is good. Rating.
Yeah, his rating is his quarterback rating was 90.5, and that puts him for 20th in the
Okay,
league.
yeah.
So QBR and rating.
Interesting. So I wonder.
We're not going to talk about.
I wonder how he was
Young
top 10. Well, yeah. I don't know. I guess it's kind of interesting. He was top 10 in all these categories, and yet his like rating was like 20 or something like that.
That's kind of weird, isn't it?
I just think he'll have a better season than people expect. Like,
oh yeah.
I think people expect him to like kind of like have like an ugly off a cliff. When in reality, I think he might just have a season like this, and because he's on the Steelers, it's gonna look better. So, I could kind of see that.
I agree with you there. So many people have lowered their expectations by now that even just an average season is going to be better than expected. So, at the very least, you know. I mean, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Nice. You got anyone else? I don't have anyone else, so.
Not really. Okay. I mean, you could name random people, but I didn't really have anyone else in mind.
Then we need to name some players who are going to regress. You know, not a breakout player. That's the opposite. Who's going through their slump? Who's going to have a bad year compared to what is expected of them?
Yeah. You have anyone in mind? I only really have one player in mind, and like. So I think you can argue that this player, he was once great, one of the greatest at his position, maybe ever, honestly.
Oh, you're going to say Travis Kelce?
No. I think at this... That might be a decent guess, though, but I'm not saying that. You're kind of close, though. But, see, I think the thing is a lot of people might already think he's regressed, but I think he could really kind of take a nosedive. It's Tyreek Hill.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, he regressed a good bit last year.
He did. He had basically 1,800 yards, which is actually crazy in 2023.
Cut that in half. 959 the next year. Yikes.
Yeah, he had 959 the next year. Still played all 17 games, so it's not like he missed games or anything. But like, yeah, I think we're about to see with all the drama around like the Dolphins, Tyreek Hill, things like that. I feel like we're about to see the plummet. Also, I was looking at some trends. I was looking at a lot of the great receivers. I'll actually just open up their stats real quick. Because I believe Tyreek Hill is going into year 9, or is it 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I guess he's going to year 10, which I think I did. So, but I did notice like a lot of these great receivers. Which for some reason I pulled up Julio Jones and DeAndre Hopkins. I don't know why I did Julio than DeAndre Hopkins, even though he was great in his time. Yeah. But Julio, there was someone else I thought about. But Julio basically, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So in year 9 was his last good year on the Falcons. It was in 2019. He had basically 1,400 yards and 6 touchdowns. And then 2020, I guess he was hurt, but he only had 700 yards. In 2021, he was traded to Tennessee and obviously kind of went down the wayside from there. I believe DeAndre Hopkins, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So in Arizona, I guess he got hurt. But basically, like around that time was his like downfall, and then also went to Tennessee, was kind of washed there. So and there might have been some other receiver, but I feel like it's around that like year 9 to 10 where you kind of really start to fall off. So let's say I think Tyreek Hill could like. Also, another candidate I kind of thought about is like Davante Adams.
I
Like,
was gonna say
you
him.
know, basically the same age bracket as Tyreek Hill. He might be a year older actually. Is he young? I think he's a year older than Tyreek Hill actually. Devontae
That sounds
is,
right.
but yeah, Devontae. Like, it is kind of weird. Like I feel like yeah, he's 32, and I think Tyreek's 31. But it feels like people still think Devonte Adams is really good, but that Tyreek Hill's washed or something like that. I also think. Well, I mean, you can explain since you had Tyreek Hill. I mean, not Tyreek Hill. Devonte Adams in mind, but I think he could also like regress, and people didn't see it coming.
I mean, the way people talk about him, it's easier to see a regression because he's not one of the very best receivers in the league anymore, and he is getting older. He wasn't as good last season. I don't think you can really deny that. He still had a decent season for sure. I mean, he cracked 1,000 yards and see how many touchdowns. 8 touchdowns. Like he had a solid season. It's nothing to sneeze at, but he's trending down.
Yeah.
He's trending down, and he is getting older. And I think he's not wide receiver 1 in LA. That's Puka Nacua for sure. I think he'll still have a good season, but he's going to have to take on the wide receiver 2 role. He'll probably be good at it. He'll probably get another 1,000 yards, but it's not going to be. It's going to be less than people are expecting. Basically, is what I was kind of gonna say. He's not an elite receiver in the league anymore. Is what I'm guessing is going to be the case.
Yeah, I think that's the case too.
So do you think Jalen Waddle is in for a breakout year then? If Tyreek is going to fall off, then Waddle would be in line to do better, you would think. Although it's not like he was that good last year either. 744 yards last season for Waddle.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like all I've heard is that he would be wide receiver 1 if it weren't for Miami. So if he kind of has the chance to like be the guy, I could see that. But like, also, yeah, he had 1,300 yards his sophomore season. He had 1,000, then 1,300, then 1,000, then 700. He did kind of have a down year. I don't know. He's kind of an interesting kind of test case. Like I'm not exactly sure. Like maybe I think it also kind of could depend on like the reliability of the quarterback position.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I guess it's also been a problem in the past, but those receivers still produce. I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I think maybe Jalen Waddle could be a name to like watch out for.
I'm not predicting it. I just wondered if since you had Tyreek Hill in mind for a regression, maybe you thought the opposite for Jalen Waddle. I'm just curious there. I mean, we're both down on Miami. So.
Yeah, I think Miami is going to be a little bit of a dumpster fire.
Yeah, sucks for them. One player I'm going to say will regress, and this is kind of unfair because of the monster year he had. I'm going to say it's Saquon Barkley. By default, he's going to regress, but I don't think it's going to be a small regression. I think it's going to be bigger. I mean, he's still going to be very good, but probably closer to 1,400 yards on the ground this year. And you got to factor in the Madden curse because, it is a thing. Even if it doesn't factor in immediately, it gets you at some point, which has me worried about Josh Allen. But I might be changing my Super Bowl prediction, actually. Josh Allen might be doomed.
Oh, really?
I mean, the Madden curse is real, man.
Okay, if you say so.
I'm gonna let the not real, but it's totally real Madden curse affect my Super Bowl prediction. I'm not superstitious. I'm just a little stitious. But anyway, I think Saquon is gonna obviously not. I mean, not gonna be bad, but he's not gonna be anywhere near what he was last year, if that makes sense. So that would technically be a regression.
Yeah.
I hate to call it that.
I mean, that's also understandable.
Yeah. I'm going to do something really stupid here because I do it every year and I'm wrong every year. This is the year James Conner does not reach 1,000 yards and he's not that good. This is the year. And this time I'm going to be right. At this point, I'm obligated to say it.
Yeah, I forget that James Conner... Wow, he's 30. That's crazy.
It's amazing he's lasted this long.
That's crazy, yeah. I know. Well, he didn't hit 1,000 yards until like last year or the year before, technically in 2023.
Really, I thought he'd been getting 1,000 yards. Shoot.
No, he's only had 2 seasons of 1,000 yards.
Oh yeah, just the last 2. So how long have I been saying he was going to be bad?
I don't know. Honestly,
I feel like every year I say he's gonna be bad, and then he's good for no reason.
I don't stay up at night thinking, I wonder if James Conner is gonna finally regress. So
I don't either. It's just something I say every year, and then every year he proves me wrong. So it's something I have to think about.
I'm literally indifferent on Conner. I mean, yeah, you could tell me he like regresses or has another. I mean, I would probably just play the odds and think that he doesn't have a great rookie or have a great season, and whoever trying to look this team up, whoever they have, if they have like a rookie in the backfield or something like that, maybe this guy would be someone to watch out to like take over. Oh, is he not in the Cardinals? He is.
They have Trey Benson,
no, this was last year.
Year 2 running back Trey Benson. He might take over that backfield at some point.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yes, Trey Benson. Yeah, maybe a name to watch out for.
Perhaps. Another running back on my list is Breece Hall. We might agree on that. Part of it is just that he's on the Jets, so I assume that's not going to work out.
Regression.
Yeah, the only player I trust on the Jets roster right now is probably Garrett Wilson and to some degree Sauce Gardner. That's about it.
Sure. Yeah. Makes sense.
Brian Robinson in Washington. I root for him. He's a good story since he got shot and then came back and played the same season. I don't think he's that good, and at some point that's going to cost him playing time, and I think this might be the year. Maybe not this season, but they're going to replace him at least after this season, if that makes sense. That's his regression. Like, he's not good enough, and he gets replaced.
That's fair. Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm going through names, seeing if there's anyone else. I don't want to say Chuba Hubbard. He's probably going to regress though. He got 1,200 yards last year. I don't really see him topping that. It'll probably be closer to 1,000 in my opinion. So I guess if you count that as a regression, that's a regression. But no one talks about him, so we're safe.
Sure.
Yeah. Quarterbacks, I think Darnold's going to regress, but I think that's kind of a common take. He's going to Seattle. He's not going to have nearly the same amount of success there as he did in Minnesota, in my opinion, mostly because of the offensive line. He's going to be good enough because I do believe JSN is about to have a really good year, and I don't think Cooper Kupp is suddenly going to be terrible, so I think he's going to be productive enough. There's going to be regression for sure.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, and I don't know. I guess there aren't really any other quarterbacks I would say I expect to just regress.
I mean, what about like again, just based on like having been so freaking good last year, what about Jamar Chase?
Well, he was really, really good last year, but also if you compare his season to some of the best receiving seasons from years past, like his was kind of like lower on the list of great seasons. We've been spoiled rotten with Cooper Kupp's season and then Tyreek Hill and CeeDee Lamb in the same season, and Justin Jefferson in one year I'm sure was up there. He'll probably regress for that same reasoning. I don't know if he'll hit 1,700 yards again. I could see it. I don't think he'll be as good though. 1,700 yards and 17 touchdowns. Oh man.
No, that's fair. Yeah. I think also, I think it's totally fine we got on our own conversation. I know Sudoku, I think he was asking about players we think will be washed. And we kind of went a different direction with, predicting players who are really good. No, it's okay. It's our own conversation, which is good. But obviously, Jamar Chase is not washed. Saquon's not washed. But, I just
I thought it was just regress. So I didn't realize wash was the word. My bad.
No, it's okay. It's all good. I'm sure we answered his question.
I mean, you said Tyreek. I said Devontae. Yeah. Before this segment, I did mention Mike Evans as a name to watch. I'm not predicting it yet. At some point, he's going to stop hitting that 1,000-yard mark, though. I'm even as a Panthers fan, I do hope he continues to do that, though, because that's cool. It's history that we're watching unfold, so I'm cool with it. Washed. See, I'm trying to see it differently now. Calvin Ridley. At what point is he just washed?
I mean, I would have thought that he already is washed.
I would have too, but I'm looking at his
Like,
season where he got 1,000 yards last year. I don't know if it's time to call him washed yet or not.
I guess that's fair. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel I don't know.
George Pickens is washed, although we got that from the uniform
Yeah,
change. So,
right.
see, we said Kelsey's on the way down. Keenan Allen, I
True.
think he's kind of last year that was washed.
Yeah,
Uh,
right.
Cooper Kupp could be a candidate for someone who's washed. That's not what Sudoku wants to hear. It's just the name I saw. I'm not predicting it. I think I just said he's not going
Right.
to suddenly be bad, but it is possible given his age. He has some injury history too, and he's adapting to a new offense. It's possible he kind of falls off as well.
Right.
Let's see. Uh, hmm. Yeah, I guess that's like
Okay, do you want to
most of
know
them.
you want to know Gemini's candidates for players who will regress? Well, I guess this isn't necessarily washed, but
Yeah, I want to
so
know.
this is going back to the regression. And I'm actually curious. Not that I'm trying to use like AI to like do our whole show. It's actually pretty interesting. So like Baker Mayfield, James Cook, T. Higgins, Terry McLaurin, Sam Laporta, excuse me, Jameer Gibbs, Jared Goff, Amon-Ra. So basically, the whole Lions
Yeah,
team is
this
going to
is
regress.
very
Is what
anti-Lions. Wow. What does it know
I
that we
know.
don't?
It totally is.
Well, Laporta already
I
like
know.
had a down season though. That's an interesting name to have on there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and this also could have been from like the past or something like that. Like
Yeah.
sometimes AI just doesn't like isn't necessarily updated.
I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I guess I mean Goff and Baker were so good in in the passing yards at least last year. They were second and third actually, so pretty good after all.
Yeah.
And they were pretty high up there in touchdowns as well. That you could see regression, but also they threw so many interceptions as well. See Baker,
Yeah.
I mean, he was pretty high up there. Tied for first in the league with Kirk Cousins at 16 interceptions. Gino threw 15, by the way, for whatever that's worth. Goff is right behind. So it's Kirk, Baker, Gino, Jameis Winston, of course, and then Jared Goff was tied with Jameis at 12. So lots of
Yeah.
interceptions. Like, it's not like they don't have a turnover issue. That's we already see that there. So I guess the thing we'd have to argue for
Sure.
them is they're gonna suddenly not be able to pass the ball very well. I guess. Hang on,
Yeah. Like
Jameis
some of the
Winston's
lines.
incredible.
Yeah.
He played 12 games and threw 12 interceptions. Only Jameis could do it.
Only Jameis. That is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I guess I could see a regression from Goff or Baker. I'm not predicting it from Baker because I see the Bucks doing great things this year. Not a Super Bowl, but I think we have what Bucks Lions NFC Championship. But we have the Lions winning, so I guess I don't really
Oh,
have
I think
Goff
we
regressing
did.
either.
Yeah.
And that was our joint predictions though, so maybe that'll change when we do our own separately. Um,
Yeah.
so I don't personally see regression, at least not to the point that they're washed or they fall off a cliff or anything from Goff or Baker. I think they're kind of
Right.
established in those offenses at this point.
Yes. That is true. That is very true. I was trying to think of anyone else. I'm more doing it from the back of my head, but I'm not exactly
Stafford,
sure.
you
I
know
was
what I
gonna say
mean?
Dak. I was
Oh
gonna
yeah,
say I was gonna say Dak. I feel like he's a little too young, but also like he did have a regression season just with like the questionable coaching and just everything going on. Like we're saying Stafford. Yeah, I do think Stafford could actually be a prime candidate for that.
yeah, he's.
He
I
might
mean,
be getting up there.
yeah. I'm not rooting
Yep.
for that outcome, but it's more possible than it's been talked about for sure. Like, if you're
No, I
thinking of
think that's
veteran
true.
quarterbacks, it's Stafford, Rodgers, and I guess Dak would be one of the next oldest too as a starter, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I
at
guess
this
Gino,
point.
but Gino's like a whole different. He's his own category there. So,
Feels like
um,
yeah, it feels like he's sucked in the past. We don't really think of him as someone who could like be washed. It is kind of bizarre.
and Russ already washed, so he doesn't count.
Right.
Um, Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about the quarterbacks, I guess. Yeah, I think I've got them all.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've got anyone else you want to mention.
Interesting.
Don't really have anything to say about. I guess Aaron Jones could fall off in Minnesota. I mean, he's getting pretty old.
Hmm.
See, Mason might take
Yeah.
that job by the end of the season. Would not be a surprise. So he could fall off. Jonathan Taylor in Indy, he could fall off because he's a Colt. So that sucks.
Of course. Yep.
Let's see. Tony
Nice.
Pollard rushed for 1,000 yards last year. He might fall off if Tyjae Spears steps up and takes his job. That's a young player name to watch. Tyjae Spears in Tennessee. Maybe he breaks out
Yeah.
with Cam Ward at quarterback. I don't know. Tennessee's really difficult to judge on offense right now.
That's true. Yes.
Alvin Kamara, if you don't already count him as washed, he's washed. If you need confirmation, watch the Saints next year. If you want to spare yourself, don't watch the Saints next year. It's going to be misery.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I got for rushing. There weren't really a lot of players who came to mind for me with the receivers, so I guess that's about all I got. I know we're only naming the skill positions on offense. I guess if you have anyone,
Yeah, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, I just don't know as much about the defensive players. Like who would be due for a breakout? Who would be who's due to fall off?
Yeah, like that's a good question. Like I don't know. Actually uh maybe Trey Hendrickson.
Or wherever he goes, he's gonna be bad. Or not bad.
I don't know. I just kind of think the whole holdout situation. He's a little older.
Yeah. And most of his production was in sacks, right?
I think so. I mean, that sounds about right.
And it's not like he's been like one of the elite edge rushers in the league for that long, if I'm not mistaken. Mostly the past couple of years.
Right. No, I think you're right. No, I think he just had like an okay start to his career, and then like just had 2 seasons with like 17 sacks or whatever. So I could see him maybe just being someone who just like kind of like goes back to that sort of goes back to yeah, I don't know. Maybe Danielle Hunter actually could be
Gardner Johnson is gonna fall off
like
because of all the talk.
totally that would happen. Yeah.
Patrick Surtain, I mean he's gonna be good, but probably not as good as Defensive Player of the Year. I feel like when you win that award, you just regress unless your name is T.J. Watt.
Right. Like for like breakout though, actually, what about maybe Trayvon Walker's a name to watch for breakout?
Oh yeah, yeah he is. He's been quietly pretty solid the past couple seasons, I think.
Oh, he has. I think we're just waiting for that, like, for that, like, 17 sack season or whatever. But he had 3.5 as rookie and then, like, 10.5. Yeah, I mean, like, he's like,
I could see that.
I mean, Jadeveon Clowney never got 10 sacks in a season, and we think he's solid, so,
Is he on a team now, Clowney? Did he sign him anywhere? Because we released him, so.
I don't think so.
Oof.
Yeah. I was saying a graphic earlier. It's like bold moves every team should make, and it was saying that some team should like sign him, which is like, okay, really sign Jadeveon Clowney going to do anything? It might have been like the Dolphins or something.
Jadeveon Clowney's not going to fix Miami, that's for sure.
No, I forget. And of course, I lost the graphic. So I have no idea what it was about.
Nice.
Jadeveon Clown. I just remember I saw like. It was like a bunch of stuff. I think it was saying like you guys should like, maybe it was saying you guys should get Trey Hendrickson or something like. It was saying you guys do something bold and like all these bold moves, and it's like this team. Oh, was it the Jaguars? Apparently ESPN suggests Clowney should sign with the Jaguars. I mean, okay,
that's weird.
Now they can have 2 former first overall pass rushers who kind of disappointed or underwhelmed a little bit.
I mean, I guess it wouldn't be the worst move, but I guess it depends on the price. I don't know. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah. Right.
I'm trying to find some other options for a breakout. Someone in Denver. I don't know who.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Nick
Someone in
Bonito?
Denver will do it.
The
Yeah.
linebacker in Denver. Apparently, he was third in the league in sacks last year.
Yeah, that is actually kind of crazy. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, maybe he takes a step further and becomes a household name. It's not a name that you hear a lot.
Right.
Kyle Van Noy in Baltimore could be a player who regresses a good bit. He's 34, so I mean his productive years are probably
Yeah,
gonna
I feel like
wrap up at some
by
point.
now people just think, yeah, I would have thought by now people thought he's washed. I guess he has had some
He was
productive
fourth in the
seasons,
league in
so
sacks last year. That's why I named him. It's like he actually had a solid year in
yeah,
defense. It looks
well,
like.
he probably will be regressing.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think
fourth
he's
and
getting
sacks. Yeah,
12
he
and a
had a
half
career
sacks
high.
again. He did
Crazy.
that in 16 games too.
Like how Khalil Mack will be like 34 and still get like 17 sacks or something. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, for sure. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, I feel like defensive players are harder to predict a breakout for.
that's true.
I hope it's true because I'm struggling here. Let me go to
Right.
secondary. Yeah, I said Gardner Johnson. Um, oh yeah, I said Surtain. So I already named a couple of secondary guys. What about Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger in New Orleans? Did you know he was in New
Hmm.
Orleans still? Poor guy.
I knew that, yeah. But yeah, poor guy.
Yeah, he might be washed after the season if he's not already. I don't honestly know if he's washed yet. I didn't think he was, but I don't know.
Wait. He's still in New Orleans, Tyrann Mathieu?
Yeah.
That's funny cuz Justin Reed is also in New Orleans and they were together in Kansas City. Now they're together in New Orleans, which is actually funny.
So they went from winning together to losing together. That's great. Good for you guys.
Exactly. Also, like Tyron had some quote like when Justin Reed got extended that he was like heartbroken that he didn't get extended or something like that, and that he would have taken the same pay that like Justin Reed. So he said something, which now they're like back on the same team. Which is, I mean, maybe they get along. I don't know, but
Let's hope so.
pretty interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well,
Oh, I mean, you get your money. I mean, good for you, I guess.
yeah. I mean, you got what you wanted in the end. Uh, yeah. I don't have any more
Right.
players to name for breakout candidates or washed candidates or regression candidates. There's not much more to say about defense for me personally. I know more about offense for sure. I'm not even gonna try with the lineman.
Yeah.
Which offensive lineman is gonna break out this year? I don't know. Who can you name 10 offensive linemen? We probably
Full
could actually.
take. I think Tristan Wirfs is wash. Let's put that out there.
Oh man, no. Creed Humphrey is
I mean, I
gonna
guess
be
it's hard
terrible
to
at
name
center.
someone like. I guess like the Niners left tackle. What's his name?
Trent
I
Williams?
forgot. Of like is Brent Williams. Yeah, he could probably be a
He's
candidate for
retiring
like
after
someone who
this
kind
year.
of. Yeah, seems like it.
He
I mean,
might. I
yeah.
don't know.
Okay. I need to take a real quick bio break, but after that, do you want to talk about our last topic, which would be, head coaches we think will get fired?
Yeah, that works. I didn't even realize we had another topic. So nice. I'm
Yeah,
gonna think on that.
I
while
think
you
yeah,
do that.
I can kind of tell you're kind of like dragging it, and it's like yeah, we still have one more thing to talk about. So
Whoops.
yeah,
Yeah, I was
it's all
trying to
good.
think
I'll
of
be
players.
right back.
All right. Yeah, you go take your break.
It's okay. All right.
All right. So coaches who could be on the hot seat. I know one that we are both going to mention. I don't know if you guys are going to be overly fond of it, but we are in agreement there. We'll bring up the name when he's back. Yeah, there are a few names we'll throw around. Some obvious names, maybe some. We'll try to give you some names that are less obvious, I suppose. I think everyone knows Brian Dable is a prime candidate to get canned this year. But there are some others who you might not suspect as of right now who might want to keep an eye on this upcoming season. So that's what we'll go over when Daniel returns. Which coaches are really on the hot seat? Tell you what, Dave Canales, he's not on the hot seat. He's the best coach in the league, so his job is safe. I'll tell you that. Anyway, yeah, as I was saying, the Texans
And you're
coach is going to be
take
fired
him
this
out.
year. So, huh? What?
The Texans coach or the
No,
Texas?
no, nothing. I didn't say anything about your coach.
Oh,
What are you
okay,
talking about?
okay,
What are you talking about?
yeah,
What are you talking
totally.
about? Yeah.
Okay, so this was a question from Sudoku, which is essentially which head coaches do we think will be fired next season. Either like next season during the season, or maybe on Black Monday or something like that, and why. I think he did also add that to the question.
Okay. So
So
more depth for our answers then. Got it.
right. Which I think is good. I think it's kind of good to kind of like, just like discuss these things. But
Okay.
yes. So head coaches, who do we think?
Let's get some of the
You want to
obvious
start?
names
Do you
out of the
think?
way first before we take turns with
Yes.
coming up with our own names, because we're both gonna say Brian Dable for sure. Um,
Yeah, surely he's got. I mean, it's kind of surprising. It's kind of impressive that he's lasted this long. But yes, I would
yeah,
agree. Brian Dabble should
the only
be gone.
way he keeps his job is if the Giants surprise and they compete throughout the year. Given that Russell Wilson is
Like
probably the
Jackson
starter,
Dart.
yeah. Well, Jackson
Yeah,
Dart could
well, or
save
like
them.
Jackson Dart would have to have like offensive rookie of the year or like close to it.
But see, the problem is I don't think they're starting him week 1. I think Russ starts probably through the first 4 weeks or however long it takes. I mean, the fans are going to be calling for Jackson Dart to start pretty quickly because I think they start 0-4, probably 1-3 at best. I don't know if you've seen their schedule. Oh, you have seen their schedule. Those of you watching, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's
yeah,
pretty brutal. Like, it looks like 2 wins. If they 2 wins wouldn't be a surprise, even if they're much better this year than they were last year. They might just win 2 games because the schedule is just absolutely insane.
yeah,
They'll probably pull a couple
right.
upsets, get closer to 4 wins, but they're not going to win enough to keep coach's job. So someone's going to have to take the fall. I think they get rid of the coach, get rid of the GM, and try to build something in New York surrounding Jackson Dart. And maybe that works. We're not really... okay, I shouldn't speak for you. I'm not really a Jackson Dart believer. I'll root for him,
Yeah,
but I don't believe. So I think New York is in a really tough spot here, and Brian Dable is going to be on his way out as a result.
yep. Seems like it. Yeah, I think that one's pretty obvious. Again, I guess you could see a situation where like Jackson Dart plays like an offensive rookie of the year and like they stay and like I don't know, but yeah, especially after the whole Saquon stuff, it's kind of tough. It's looking pretty tough for Dable and Joe Shane.
Oh yeah. Are there any other just clear-cut obvious names that everyone kind of agrees? Really, it's just Dable right now.
I mean, besides like some like one and dones, which we could talk about. I mean, I don't really think so. I think what's his name? Brian Dabble's kind of the one with the target.
All right, we can save the one and done candidates till the end, I guess. We'll get through all the other more
Yeah,
experienced coaches who have a shorter leash, at least perceived shorter leash.
yeah, yeah. Because I think not non one and dones. I probably have. Oh, there is another candidate though. Maybe no one really sees coming, but I'm just making sure I've gone through everyone. I think I have 3 solid candidates.
Okay.
So
you go ahead and say
yeah.
the next one then, when you're ready.
Okay, I'm actually this is a little bit my wild card. I just say this because like I think like this would be surprising because like no one would really see this coming, and theoretically he has like a new quarterback drafted high to work with. But I think if they have a rough season again, I think Brian Callahan could be out.
Who?
I don't know. I just think like
I feel like people still don't even know who that is. Yeah, the Tennessee Titans head coach, Brian Callahan.
Yeah, I don't know. He just I mean maybe they give him another year even if he has a, rough season, but like went 13-4 not 13-4, other way around. 3-14 last year and
yeah.
I feel like if he has another rough year, they might just like fire him and like try to get a head coach who could like, play to like Cam Ward's sort of strengths.
I mean, it's possible.
Honestly, I'm not really predicting it necessarily, but I just kind of think that's a little, that could be a little bit out there.
Okay. I could see it. It would have to be an abysmal year 1 under Cam Ward, for sure, for them to be like, you don't even get year 2 with Cam Ward. You're gone. So
Right.
I mean, I've
Yeah.
seen something similar, actually more extreme, I guess, because we had Frank Reich the year Bryce Young was drafted, and he only lasted 10 games, and it was deserved for him to be fired. I won't get into all that right now.
Yeah, that was wild.
It was the correct call for sure. Yeah, I know our owner's impatient. It was the right call, so I don't care. Anyway, we'll go on to the next possible head coach who will be fired. I believe he'll be fired. And I'll say this name so you don't have to. I think we both agree. Shane Steichen, there's a good chance he gets fired because we think the Colts are in for a pretty miserable season. We don't believe in Anthony Richardson. Definitely not going to buy into the Daniel Jones breakout season. If it happens, cool. If not, well, I think Steichen's probably just... someone's got to take the fall. He's entering year 3 as the Colts head coach, and it sucks that he's been stuck with Anthony Richardson, and he's probably getting fired, and I would be interested to see how he does at a second stop somewhere, but he's probably on his way out.
Yes, seems like it. I mean, it is tough. You have like the 2 quarterbacks. Like honestly, and I see what you're saying. And like maybe I've said something that might contradict this point. I actually don't really predict that he will be fired. Now that I really think about it. And like the reason I say that, and I'm not trying to like argue. I'm just kind of saying because like he did go like 8-9 and 9-8 the 2 previous seasons, and like I feel like it would need to be a disaster for him to be like out.
Well, we're thinking,
but as
like,
you do say,
closer
like,
to 4 or 5 wins is where I'm projecting them.
Yeah, yeah. Like, and as you do say, if they do have to have that type of rough season, at some point, someone has to take the blame, and like normally it's gonna be the head coach. So I don't necessarily think it's like I don't think it's a bad take or anything like that. I honestly like if I'd like place my bets, I probably would just like. I'd assume he stays, and maybe the Colts would just like overperform somehow. Like somehow they just like squeak their way to like 8 wins or something like that. But he was definitely he actually wasn't even on my like initial kind of like internal list. But then I saw him like right before you said, and I was like, oh yeah, him. Like that's someone who I want to talk about. Okay, was that all you wanted to talk about, Shane Steichen?
Well, we're alternating here, so we'll go back to you now. I don't have anything to add.
Yeah. Every team should be ready for when Miles, Jussie, Smollett, Garrett asks for a trade after week 3. Well, he just got extended, so
that would be
kind
wild
of weird
with that
to ask
contract,
for a trade.
Yeah.
He already did ask for a trade, and he got signed. So it would be a story. I mean, we cover it on Football for Fun for sure, but
that would be
no, I don't think that's happening.
Oh yeah.
So I think. Was there someone else? I don't really have a good formal list. I'm just trying to make sure I didn't gloss over anyone. But I think like which guy do I want to mention? I don't really. I mean, like Raheem Morris. Like honestly, like he's just like he doesn't really like. I don't know like what he does well. Like I mean, he's a defensive coach, right? But I don't even necessarily know that he's like that. Yeah, he's just kind of like he's like I think he's a retread.
Yeah, the hire from the beginning was like weird. I think he was a Rams coach at one point.
Yeah, and like had so many 7 and 10 seasons, and that's the same reason. Well, I say so many. This was his first year coaching though, right? For the Falcons, or was it his second?
I think he's going. I don't know. I think he's going into year. I want to say he's going into.
He's going to year 3.
Okay,
that's the Falcons. Yes. So it was 4 and 7. Oh wait, what? No, he's going to his second year. He randomly coached some games in 2020. Was it?
Oh, was he an interim coach somewhere?
I guess. So in 2020, he was promoted to interim head coach following the firing of Dan Quinn. I did not realize that. So he was an interim coach in 2020. Had some stints with like the Rams. I guess he had a stint with the Rams, and then went back to Atlanta. Actually, I did not know that. That's actually interesting.
He has an interesting coaching history.
Yeah. So as far as just full-time like head coach, this is going to be his second year, and his first year he was 8 and 9. So like, I guess like if Penix has a breakout year and like Bijan's all that good and like they have a good season, I guess it's possible that he stays. But honestly, like I kind of think like just given that he's a retread and like not really, I just don't think he's that good, honestly.
Yeah, and people in Atlanta, I went to Atlanta in April, so I was listening to the Atlanta sports radio. They think that they're gonna clean house if this season is a disappointment. Like they think GM is gone, coach is gone, and I think that was part of why they took such a risk this year, trading back into the first round and paying a good price for it. They don't have their first round pick next year because the GM's like, if this doesn't work, I'm not gonna be here anyway to make that pick. So what do I care? That's just perspective from some Falcons, I guess, radio show host. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, that's what they think at least. Yeah, I could see him being fired for sure if it's a disappointing year.
Yeah, there are so many guys I forgot about. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll name our next name. It's the Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel.
Yes.
We both think he's kind of overrated. I think you more so than I think that.
But he wears flip flops and has cool press conferences and has cool he's just a hipster. He's so cool.
Well, we need to see the results on the field first, because he's going into what, year 4? I want to say. Is this his 4th year now?
That sounds right. Yes.
Yeah,
I believe so.
I think so.
Mike.
Yeah,
I think it's his 4th.
This
going
one.
to his 4th year. Yeah, he will be going to his 4th year. Yes, we are still streaming. Dang, you're back, Sudoku. I didn't expect you to be back. We're not talking about the head coaches who will be fired. Or who are candidates to be fired, I guess we should say.
And Brian Dable, obviously, he's as hot as it can be. And we're throwing out some more interesting names that aren't being talked about as much. Brian Callahan, if you've ever heard of him, he happens to be the coach of the Titans. See, I said Shane Steichen, coach of the Colts. Oh, yeah, he said, have you mentioned Callahan? Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, that actually kind of was my wild card. No one's really talking about him being canned, but I do think if the Titans have a rough season, then they could just fire him and just try to hire someone to custom made for Cam Ward.
He did throw his quarterback under the bus. That did happen. I'd forgotten about that actually.
Oh, did it? I don't remember that. He threw Will Levis under the bus.
Yeah, it was in the press conference. I think I don't remember what he said. I remember that happened, and it was like, whoa, do you really just do that?
I think I vaguely remember that now. That's still, I guess it was kind of, I don't know. Bro said, we just punted on 1st and 7 every time. Oh my gosh. That is, maybe he was trying to, say how well the defense play. I don't know, but it is a goofy comment to make regardless. It is kind of, silly.
That early in the season, too. It's that shatters your quarterback's confidence moving forward. That's wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, he said Callahan, I said Steichen, you said Raheem Morris, I just said Mike McDaniel. Let's see a playoff win at some point, or let's see you get more than the 7 seed going into the playoffs at least. That would be cool. But we are assuming that Mike McDaniel's Miami Dolphins are not going to be very good this year. At some point, lack of results are going to catch him and he's going to be fired. I'm predicting it's this year.
Yeah. Yeah. My next name, even if it's not necessarily deserved. Oh yeah, we did say Dabble.
Yeah, he was our first name. Easily. We didn't discuss him much.
He should. I mean, again, it's kind of weird that he's not fired already. So maybe for that. I also said if Jackson Dart has some offensive rookie of the year type season, he would save their jobs potentially. But I would expect him to be out. Him and Joe Shane. But yeah, deserved or not, I think we both kind of think he's still a pretty good coach. But I mean, Kevin Stefanski is probably out. I would think. Man.
Yeah, that's gonna suck. That's gonna really suck. He's a very good coach.
Yeah,
he's gonna be a different situation, but it'll be like Mike Vrabel. He'll get a second chance somewhere because someone's gonna recognize that it wasn't his fault. Oh, I guess you could argue otherwise with Vrabel, but he was with Tennessee and had Ryan Tannehill as his quarterback.
Well, yeah.
So the quarterback.
He was forced to trade AJ Brown. It's not, that wasn't his fault.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Stefanski has been forced to do some things with the roster that he didn't want. I mean, I'm sure he didn't want to start Deshaun Watson as much as he did last year. And I mean, it might not have mattered
Yeah,
anyway, but
didn't want to draft Shedeur Sanders either.
it didn't look like it. No, he'll
You
probably be
took
fired at
Dylan
some point.
Gabriel like 2 rounds earlier. Yeah,
Great draft value for the Shedeur Sanders, I guess. Canceling out the terrible value for Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. All right. Yeah, we agree. Someone's going to take the fall in Cleveland at some point. Yeah, of course. That's a great stat. I'm pretty sure that's real.
Crazy, yeah.
Okay.
Probably, yeah.
So it's my turn. I'm trying to avoid going into the one and dones so far. Just make sure there's no one else.
I only really have one more name in mind, who I would see as a candidate.
I'm going through the teams in my head. Just make sure I'm not make sure I don't miss anyone.
Yeah.
There's so many who are safe, and then there are some who you go maybe there's some heat there.
Right.
If you think about it.
Yeah.
Here, why don't you say yours, so we can fill the dead silence that would appear while I think.
I guess this is another one. I would say the candidate, I would necessarily predict it, is Jonathan Gannon.
Oh, I was thinking him earlier. I totally forgot about it. Yeah.
I mean, just I mean,
he
feels like
fine.
The Cardinals just need a fresh start. You think any coaches go one and done? I think we think several coaches might go one and done.
Yeah, we'll get there in a moment for sure. Did you have anyone else?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm
trying to.
Just are you talking about?
Oh, if you have any more who aren't one and dones.
Oh no. I think that's it from my end.
Yeah, I think Gannon's done a decent job too in Arizona. He's exceeded expectations, but I don't think that they're gonna break through. I guess. His fate is kind of tied to Kyler Murray and how well he does. If he can take them further this year, then he's safe. Otherwise, I mean, he's kind of stuck. So, see how Kyler does.
Yep.
I don't think we're missing anyone who isn't just a first-year coach.
Yeah.
I guess you could put Dave Canales on the list if Carolina is just abysmal again. Blow it all up. Yeah.
Kind of the same logic as the Tennessee guy. Yeah. I mean,
he's brought into.
I probably trust Bryce Young more than I trust King.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can do the one and dones now, since I think we've covered most of them at this point.
Yeah. I see like 3 strong candidates. I don't know if you feel the same or if it's more or less. But
Marty Schottenheimer is the first one who comes to my mind, just because he's in Dallas. It's a weird hire to begin with. It feels like a hire you make knowing it's going to go poorly, and you get rid of him, and then you hire whoever you have in mind looking ahead to next year. Or maybe it's just Jerry being Jerry and hiring whoever he feels like because he knows he can control him. I don't know. It was weird. Yeah. I was all for firing Mike McCarthy, but somehow they managed to downgrade at head coach despite getting rid of someone who I thought had been holding them back. I said the wrong name?
You did say Murray Schottenheimer.
Hang on, what's his son's name?
I do that all the time for some reason. Yeah, Brian Schottenheimer.
Right, yes. I got it right earlier. Of course, now I got it wrong. Yeah, Brian Schottenheimer.
Right.
Signed a multi-year contract.
He signed a multi-year contract. I mean, Jerry has the money just like, boop, on to the next.
I think that, unless they make the playoffs, or, I don't know, unless they improve, it's probably not going to be that good of a year. No one else was talking about him being a head coach except Jerry Jones, so I assume it's not going to work out. I could see him being one and done, and there's some grander plan in mind for the head coaching position, but we'll see.
The head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, Schottenheimer. Yeah. So I think you probably know who else I'm going to name is the Saints head coach, Kellen Moore.
If they're as bad as I say they're going to be, then there's a good chance he gets canned.
Poor guy. I mean, just I mean, the Saints job was one that no one really wanted.
And
and like honestly,
no one
I
else
feel like
really
we were
wanted
having like
Kellen Moore, so it was like a perfect match.
perfect match. Right. But honestly, yeah, I feel like I remember we were having like internal discussions, like well, Sudoku, if that's the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, Schottenheimer, I mean, I don't necessarily remember that. I mean, he is the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, right? But
I don't know what the reference is.
he might be talking about something to where I think I remember if it's a random Discord conversation, I think I remember that. Anyway, but yeah, Kellen Moore. It felt like at some point, like who is like like no one was gonna like go to the Saints, so it's like, are they gonna go into the season without a head coach? Which I think is obviously not really the case. Wouldn't have never been the case, but yeah, I think Kellen Moore is pretty easy candidate.
Kellen Moore shouldn't have taken the job. I think he should have stayed in Philadelphia for another year and seen if there was a better spot to go to the year after. But oh well.
Jerry Jones said this after he hired Shoddy. Brian Schottenheimer is known as a career assistant. He ain't Brian no more. He is now known as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
I might be tired, and
that's why he said that.
I might be tired and out of it. Why is it funny?
Just he's not Brian anymore. It's just can't call him that.
He ain't Brian no more. He's so that's like his name. Like it's not like what's up, Brian. It's what's up, coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
Schottenheimer.
It's kind of
the
head coach. Okay, I mean, whatever. I might have to look that quote up or something, but yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I have Kellen Moore. Do you have anyone else for like one and dones who are probably gonna be canned?
I mean, those were the two that came to mind. I feel like there's one other I might have named earlier who I've now forgotten.
Yeah. I feel like the only other two that are logical would be like Aaron Glenn and like Liam Cohen. I don't think Liam Cohen's gone, but and I don't even know about Aaron Glenn.
I think they give him 2 years probably in Jacksonville. I think. Yeah. I don't know. I'm mixed on Aaron Glenn. He was kind of an odd hire to begin with, I guess. I didn't think his defenses in Detroit were ever that special. So
I think these coaches. Yeah, see, that's the other thing. I don't think we're necessarily actually predicting all these guys. I think honestly, which to be fair, it wasn't your question, but we're kind of doing more candidates. I think Sudoku actually wanted to know who we actually think is going to get fired, which is honestly kind of a whole other thought.
It's Dable, it's McDaniel, and it's Callahan, and Steichen. Those four get canned, and then one and done. Yeah. Probably Kellen Moore. Probably is a safer bet than Schottenheimer.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, I might make a video at some point actually, because I think like in our first iteration of Football for Fun, I did like a tier list of like coaches based on like hot seat status. I think I might actually do that. It's actually a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I know, like, no, we're not delivering the exact answer, but no, that's totally fine. Okay. Honestly, I am tired. Do you just want to call it an episode here?
Yeah, I've been tired for a bit too.
That's totally
I'm
fine.
Reading things in chat and I'm hearing things from you, and I'm thinking the wrong things. Like Marty Schottenheimer is totally the coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah. Whoops.
Yes.
And right. I'm struggling to even think of coaches to name at this point. I don't usually struggle there.
Yeah, it's all kind of like getting unfuzzled together.
Well, I mean, we squeezed out a 2.5 hour stream here though in the bleakest part of the off season, so we'll take it.
That's actually insane. Yeah.
I don't know how we.
All right. Yeah. Thank you all so much for watching Football for Fun. Thank you to Sudoku for pumping some questions. Keep them up. And yeah. Also,
and, Raul
fun
Havana
episode. Yeah, not bad.
Up earlier in the chat, said a few things, so thank you as well for stopping by. Anyone else who's been lurking, thank you. Oh, Devin was here earlier. Thank you, Devin, for being here for however long that was. Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Also, I think we're also, just before we actually sign off, I think we're gonna stream on like a different day other than Wednesdays. I think we were targeting Mondays. Is that correct?
Yeah, we had said Mondays. Wednesdays have become less ideal for one of us. It's me. But
right.
And we did Thursday tonight because it was just well, it worked out conveniently. So but moving forward, I think we're gonna aim for Monday nights. So we'll hopefully that'll go well.
Yep, I think it will. So hopefully all you guys are available Monday nights. Today's Thursday. Yeah. So like, well, today it's a little different. Moving forward, at least for the summer, I think we'll do Mondays. So I guess we'll only have a stream in like 4 days or something like that. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah.
Oh,
this will be a relatively short turnaround. So
nice.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens between then. Yeah.
All right. That sounds good.
Probably some more dumb off season.
We'll
but yeah. Thank you all for.
We'll do some. We could do some rankings on Monday.
Thank you all for.
I think we should do rankings.
Oh yeah, rankings. I wouldn't mind that. Yeah.
We have more
rankings.
More
get the
time.
Views.
Yeah. All right.
Yes.
All right. Now
totally. All right. Yep. See you all. Thank you all so much for watching, and subscribe if you're not already. But you know, if you're here, you probably are. Yeah. I would venture to guess that Sudoku is subscribed. So.
Probably. All right, y'all. Take care. Thank you, everybody. Right. See y'all for the next stream.
Take care.
Bye.
Yeah.